Oklahoma fans find their beloved Sooners ranked 7th in the nation to begin the 2010 season. And if head coach Bob Stoops' team is going to climb the rankings in the BCS, it will rest on the offensive prowess of quarterback Landry Jones and all Big 12 wideout Ryan Broyles, both of whom had breakout seasons last year that culminated in a magical Sun Bowl performance that resulted in 13 completions and 3 touchdowns between them en route to an exciting 31-27 victory over Stanford. The 2010 season starts tonight in Norman, and fans of the Crimson hope the celebration lasts until an 8th national title is in the hands of OU. Sooner football is upon us, and it begins right now.
Alive and to be in Norman, Oklahoma. It's the 116th season of Oklahoma football, and Sooner fans are excited as the 2010 season opener brings the Aggies of Utah State to Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium. We welcome you to a college football Saturday here in Norman. Might as well be a state holiday in the great state of Oklahoma. Bill Jones along with Dean Blevins. Of course, the Sooners excited about this season. They're really excited about the return of Landry Jones at quarterback and also the return of a slot receiver in Ryan Broyles, who put up incredible numbers last year.
Well, Ryan was just exceptional last year, and Landry Jones, in relief of Sam Bradford, came on and got better and better as time went on. Broyles is a rare talent. You get the ball near him, he makes the catch. As you see, he has speed, he has moves, and he has hands that are exceptionally good. Holds on to the ball in that case, and he is a remarkable talent. They're looking for more receivers, but that's a tremendous tandem.
Very quickly last year, Ryan Broyles became Landry Jones' favorite target, and it was a school record 89 catches for Broyles a year ago. The Sooners looking for more of the same this year from Jones and Broyles. There's another big-time weapon in that backfield for Oklahoma, and Alyssa Walker-Campbell is on the sidelines with more on that.
Thanks a lot, Bill. One of the compelling storylines coming into the 2010 season is the return of Oklahoma's running back, DeMarco Murray, who has battled and endured a number of injuries throughout his career as a Sooner. The good news, he's 100%. He's healthy, and I had a chance to catch up with running backs coach Cale Gundy, and he told me how he's done it. It's been a number of ways, through yoga, extra stretching. He's even done mixed martial arts training, and he changed his diet. He's lost a total of 10 pounds in the offseason, and all that adds up to a lot of durability, and a good thing, because Utah State's head coach Gary Anderson said they're going to look to minimize his ability to have a breakout game.
Now, as for Utah State, they got a pretty fair quarterback themselves in DeAndre Borrell.
Well, this guy can make it happen. I mean, their problems in the last couple of years have been on defense. Look at the numbers that this guy has put up. Only 4 interceptions, and there's the total offensive numbers. He can run, he can pass, he's leading this offense, and he expects to give Oklahoma problems, and I know the Sooner coaches are concerned.
All right, it's Oklahoma, it's Utah State. It is Oklahoma Sooner football in front of another 82,000 plus here in Norman, and we've got the kickoff for you straight ahead. Today's game is presented by your local Oklahoma Ford dealers. Check out the 2010 F-150 and drive one. Ford is the best in Oklahoma. And by McDonald's. Stop in and enjoy the McDouble on McDonald's dollar menu at participating locations. I'm loving it. A Saturday night in Norman, Oklahoma. The season opener in 2010. Bill Jones, Dean Blevins, Alyssa Walker-Campbell on the sidelines. And we are set to go as Utah State's Peter Caldwell has that football teed up. DeMarco Murray is deep for the Sooners, along with true freshman Brennan Clay, and from the 10-yard line. Hole up the middle for Brennan Clay up to the 31-yard line. That's where the Sooners will take over on offense with Landry Jones at the helm. Of course, Jones started his first game right out about a year ago here after Sam Bradford went down in the season opener at Cowboys Stadium in Arlington late in the second quarter of a game against a different Utah team from BYU. The numbers for Jones last year, nearly 3,200 yards rushing. He will start with DeMarco Murray behind him in that Sooner backfield. And straight up the middle, big hole for Murray to the outside with speed. Inside the 30-yard line. Huge pickup for DeMarco Murray on the first play of the 2010 season for the Sooners.
Well, the offensive line, no starters from last year's first game against BYU are starting tonight. They open the hole for DeMarco Murray, who has big things on his mind and starts out the season in beautiful fashion.
39 yards for DeMarco Murray all the way down to the Utah State 30-yard line on the first play of 2010. Now Murray again tries right tackle, and he'll get 4 or 5 yards. And the Sooners on offense, as Dean alluded to, the starting offensive line last year was, well, it was a trouble spot throughout the season, but this year Donald Stevenson making his first start at left tackle. You got Stephen Good, Ben Habern up front. Sooners going quickly to Ryan Broyles here. First down yardage down at the 15-yard line. And we've seen Murray, we've seen Broyles, the rest of the skill position spots. Kenny Stills, number 4, the true freshman, getting a start in his first collegiate game. And from just inside the 15-yard line, Sooners going up tempo, the way Sooner fans love it. Murray to about the 12.
You know, Oklahoma last year did not start the same line combination more than 2 games in a row. And clearly chemistry is needed up front, and that was lacking last year, among other things.
2 receivers right this time with Murray in the backfield. A drive that started at the 31-yard line. Plenty of time. Right corner of the end zone, looking for Broyles, but overshoots his intended target. It was Chris Randall, one of the best, or perhaps the best cornerback on Utah State's defense, defending Broyles on that play. It'll bring up an early 3rd down situation here for Landry Jones and the Sooners. Bob Stoops in his 12th year as the head man at Oklahoma. The Sooners with 30 straight home victories. The Stoops record in 11 seasons, 117 and 29, and of course 6 Big 12 Conference championships. 3rd and 7 from the 12. Broyles, first down, into the end zone, touchdown. Just like that, the Sooners go 69 yards.
Well, they go to their money man, Ryan Broyles, on the money down. And the ball is certainly on target. This is not the easiest pass to throw. You've got to get it out there very, very quickly. And Broyles in one-on-one coverage is hard to contain, and then he's slippery and almost impossible to tackle in that type of situation. Beautiful way to start the season offensively.
And Patrick O'Hara, who won the kicking derby, just announced earlier this week with his first attempt, and Sooners are happy it's on a point after touchdown. And yes, it is true. So Patrick O'Hara perfect for 2010. So is Ryan Broyles, Landry Jones, and the Sooner offense. Now that's the way to kick off a season, Dean.
Absolutely. When you get your running back just with a straight, not fancy at all, running play on the first down, busting loose for as much as DeMarco Murray did, you know that things are going to be going your way. Now Utah State is a defense that really struggled, to put it mildly, last year. And offensively, they're a different club, Bill. They come out, and even though they're missing their best running back in Robert Turbin, the running back who tore up a knee, he's out. Morrison, the wide receiver, the best, he's out. They're still a very fine offense.
And the Sooners, the 4th scoring drive of 69 yards in 6 plays, capped by the 12-yard pass on 3rd and 7. Landry Jones to Ryan Broyles. Broyles' second reception on that scoring drive. And of course, it all started with the DeMarco Murray 39-yard run on the first play of the 2010 season. You recall the first play of the 2009 season at Cowboys Stadium? I believe it was a false start.
That's right. That's exactly right.
There might have been 2 false starts in the first 3 plays against BYU last year.
Well, it could not have been worse than it was.
This is more like it. Kerwin Williams deep, and Tress Way will do the kickoff duties here early in this one. Number 25, Kerwin Williams for Utah State. You have to be stunned coming into this sea of crimson and cream. and get hit with a 69-yard drive to start things off. Williams takes it at the 1. Then he gets out past the 20-yard line, and that's where Utah State will take over on offense. And they've got a really fine quarterback in DeAndre Burrell, number 12.
Well, he's the man who steers the ship. And he can run and he can pass, and Oklahoma is going to have their eyes on him all night long. And one of the things they're going to try to avoid is getting sucked up when he begins to scramble, because he does a great job of scrambling and finding an open receiver behind the defensive backfield of opponents.
A dual threat quarterback, and that can be something that be difficult for a defense to contain. Burrell throwing on first down. It goes incomplete over the middle, and the pressure on, the flag down in the backfield. And we got a roughing the passer call against the Sooners here.
Automatic first down.
There's your referee, Mike DeFee.
That is very Jeremy Beal-like. He is a very disciplined player. Number 44 off the edge.
Shot to the head. And so it's a 15-yard pickup, a penalty first down for Utah State. They take over at the 37-yard line. This is Michael Smith. And Tony Jefferson, the true freshman, with the tackle there for the Sooners. Tony Jefferson, the starting nickelback. So we had Brennan Clay return the opening kickoff, a true freshman. And Kenny Stills gets the start on offense for the Sooners, a true freshman. And now Tony Jefferson in on that tackle. It's second and about 8 for Utah State from the 39. Burrell had time, fires over the middle, incomplete. Let's take a look at that Utah State offense. We talk about DeAndre Burrell, and as Dean mentioned, Robert Turbin, their leading rusher from last year, is out. Up front, Spencer Johnson at left tackle. He'll be protecting the backside of Burrell. The guy to look for, number 17 at wide receiver, Matt Austin. Most consistent receiver is 82 Moats. And we've already seen Michael Smith. They'll use 3 different running backs, Utah State will. Now empty backfield for Burrell on a 3rd and 8 from the 39. He'll step up and fire over the middle, complete for the first down. That's to Dontel Watkins, and inside Oklahoma's end of the field.
Boy, does that play tell you a lot. Utah State is saying, we're going to get the ball into our quarterback's hands. He's going to make or break us. He scrambles loose, just like I talked about a moment ago. Finds a receiver just past the first down line, and they make it look easy.
Gary Anderson giving the Sooners a little bit of their own medicine, hurrying things up a little bit from the 46-yard line. And the give off right tackle that time, and that is Durbin Spate. And a nice pickup on first down for Utah State. Got down to the 40-yard line, 6 yards for Spate. Spate, a Texan, made his way out to Utah State from MacArthur High School down in Irving. Now Smith, the back behind Burrell, and coming across the backfield that time was Williams, and there's Tom Ward in on the stop along with some friends.
Essentially a zone read right there, and you can bet that Burrell will be pulling that ball out in a few minutes and scooting right up inside and putting pressure on Oklahoma.
Defensively for the Sooners, that linebacking crew, of course, Ward was injured, tore an ACL in preseason drills last year, so he's making his first appearance in an Oklahoma uniform, number 21 in the middle. Austin Box is out and will be out for a few more weeks. He was the starter as the preseason camp began. That was a loss of 4 yards, and over the middle, pass goes incomplete. Down near the 30-yard line, Jamel Fleming getting the start at cornerback with the defensive play.
Good coverage by Fleming, but receiver is open here, and this was a catchable ball. That was a catchable ball that should have been a conversion on 3rd down.
Travis Reynolds, the intended receiver for Utah State. And so it's punt time for the Aggies. Broyles inside the 5-yard line. The ball is down at the 2-yard line. Utah State special teams comes through in a big way right there. Jones touches it down at the 2-yard line. The Sooners got off to the big start behind DeMarco Murray. Now they've got a long way to go to do it again. The 7th-ranked Sooners of Oklahoma lead Utah State. Still early in this one, just under 11 minutes to play as Oklahoma went 69 yards in 6 plays on its first possession. Now they take over back at their own 2-yard line after the nifty punt was down inside the 5-yard line. Landry Jones will start under center. The second possession got the fullback in there, Trey Millard, the freshman. Another true freshman, and not much running room for Murray that time. At the 2-yard line, it was McClinton coming up to make this stop. All right, Dean, what are the Sooners looking to accomplish besides getting their 800th all-time win?
Well, I think they want to be clean, and they had the penalty early. They don't want to be racking up a lot of penalties. They don't want any new injuries because they need momentum to get ready for Florida State. And one other thing I'll throw in after the play.
2nd and 9 for Landry Jones and the Sooners. Not much running room again. Stingy Utah State defense there. I'll set up a 3rd and long.
I think the other thing in terms of the players, who they're looking for to find some answers, the offensive line, which here gets jammed up a little bit. Haber in the center doesn't quite get his block. The others did. But I think they're looking to see good play at offensive line, defensive line, the corners, and their wide receiver.
Well, you see that first-team offensive line. We'll see a lot of the reserves on the offensive line tonight in this one. 3rd and 8. Cameron Kinney needs to get out to the 12-yard line for a first down. Looks like he's going to be about a yard short. Chris Randall defending for Utah State.
Good job, simple one-on-one by Randall. You miss that tackle, it's a long touchdown. I thought Oklahoma might go with the boot there, but they just go with the. I think the thinking is, hey, if you get past the guy, you're going to make big yardage. If you don't, we get a little bit better field position so we can punt it with one of the best punters in the country in Tressman Way. A little bit conservative, but still they were backed up toward their end zone.
A lot of consternation about the kicking game for the Sooners as far as the place kickers are concerned. Not so much about this guy, Tress Way. He puts his left foot into it and booms it over the head of Kerwin Williams, rolling down inside the 5-yard line. Wow, what a punt. It went from the Oklahoma 4-yard line all the way inside the 5. We'll have to see. It's at the 4. It goes from the 4 to the 4. You do the math. 46 plus 46, that's 92 yards.
92 yards. Wahoo McDaniel has or had the longest punt in Oklahoma history. And we're looking up how long it was. Tress Way, a weapon. What a kick. That'll flip the field around very, very quickly. And now Oklahoma will put pressure on Utah State, and that slims the playbook of what the Aggies can do.
Wow. Unbelievable change of field position, and Utah State taking over at its own 4-yard line. And nothing there. Fighting to get back to the line of scrimmage is the Utah State running back. Losing his headgear, Jamarcus McFarland.
Oklahoma jams this one up, and you can see that it's a wise play by not handing it off. Burrell makes it. If he had pulled it out, he had been one-on-one, which I think they're going to do real soon. He would have been one-on-one with Jeremy Beal, 44.
Durbin Spate was swallowed up by the interior of the Oklahoma defense, and it's 2nd and a long 10 this time. For Burrell. Had some time, now goes up the middle and just leans forward for about 3 yards after the 7.
And he is quick. He is quick.
Well, you can see just in the little glimpse that we've seen of Burrell early in this one why he set 6 school records last year for Utah State. Gary Anderson in his 2nd year at the helm of the Aggies came from the University of Utah, where he spent 11 of the previous 12 years on the Ute staff.
He's a well-respected coach. Just because the record was bad, that doesn't mean the guy can't coach.
3rd and 8. Going deep downfield. It's complete. It's Matt Austin. Inside the 40, down to the 35-yard line. Jamel Fleming defending for the Sooners. And you talk about changing field position on 3rd and 8. How about that?
Fleming gets turned around. Burrell makes a beautiful throw. And then it's just a matter of making a play. But Fleming got turned around on the play, and Oklahoma doesn't give up very many long plays.
But that one goes for 59 yards from the Utah State 6 to the Oklahoma 35. And now trying the right side is Michael Smith, and he'll get about 3.
That punt is a new record. I had the Wahoo McDaniel, and I knew it was in the 90s. It was 91 yards prior to the Tressway 92-yard, I think is what we had. But the field is flipped anyway.
Yeah, Utah State comes right back on the 3rd and 8 completion, gets 59. Back and forth we go. And nice pickup on 2nd down. It's going to set up a 3rd and short as Spate goes right up the middle. I think the Utah State team gained a lot of confidence last year. We talked about them having a 4 and 8 record a year ago. That's the most wins they've had in a season since 2002.
Oklahoma's interior defense is being tested, missing the 2 hosses they had there last year.
It's one of those hosses as the first down is picked up here down to the 24-yard line. Was a top 3 pick in the NFL draft, Gerald McCoy, now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Adrian Taylor, who we expect to see at some point tonight. Of course, he had that gruesome injury in the Sun Bowl. Is coming back, his rehab from that has looked good according to the coaches leading up to this game.
McFarland, McGee, and Walker being tested.
First down from the Oklahoma 24-yard line. Nothing that time.
R.J. Washington on the stop, and here's a kid who came in highly touted. He was one of the top high school recruits out of the country in his senior year, 6'3", 244. He can run.
Expected to make an impact as a rush end, always looking for those edge rushers. He's running 2nd team, number 91 R.J. Washington out of Fossil Ridge High School in Keller, Texas. Empty backfield for Burrell here on 2nd and 10. Now he's under pressure and he's hauled down back at the 35-yard line. Ronell Lewis, the sophomore.
Ronell Lewis will be a player that you might as well get used to seeing if you're an opponent, because this guy can flat out play. He has coaches more excited than anyone on the field, in my opinion. They call him the Hammer. He will strike you. He's a violent hitter. Brent Venables, who's coached a lot of great players, says he's the most violent player, striker, hitter he's ever coached.
I believe it after seeing him knock out a couple of players on kick returns last year as a true freshman. Now 3rd and long, Burrell with time. That ball's picked. Going the other way. DeMontre Hurst. Inside the 30-yard line.
This is a kid who came in last year as a true freshman. He played quite a bit, and the coaches just flat out loved him. He breaks on the ball here, and if he'd stayed to the left, he might have scored.
But he decides to cut back across the field.
Well, we have had 3 huge plays, haven't we? The punt, the pass.
It's like a basketball game. We're going back and forth. Maybe it's a tennis match. 29-yard line. Landry Jones and the Sooners take over. Murray trying to find a hole. There's a flag down. Comes from the offensive backfield after a pickup of 3 yards for Murray.
Holding. Offense. Number 64. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
That's Gabe Eichert, one of those converted tight ends who's running 2nd team left guard.
He's gained 50 pounds since he's been at Oklahoma in about a year and a half. He's practiced so well that he's getting snaps in place of Stephen Good and some in place of Eric Minsick. Can't do that, though, Bill.
Yeah, of course, Eric Minsick is the other converted tight end who's put on a lot of weight in the offseason. Murray trying to get to the edge. And he gets from the 39 down to about the 33 for a pickup of 6. Well, we were told by Kevin Wilson that you'd see a lot of the backup offensive linemen. Iker just one of them, getting an early dose here in the first quarter. There's Millard, the freshman. Trey Millard out of Columbia, Missouri, 6'2", 246 pounds.
That's what they love about this guy, is he is a tremendous blocker. Even though the true freshman, he has hands, and he's good enough that he can run the ball, and Oklahoma rarely has run the fullback.
Boy, what a new dimension to the Sooner offense if you can get a fullback like Trey Millard who can run the football like that.
Look for Ryan Broyles, bottom of your screen, to be involved in this play.
And a false start.
Those are the kinds that just kill you. You go from...
False start. Offense. Number 59. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's Donald Stevenson getting his first collegiate start here.
You go from 3rd and short to 3rd and long. You go from 3rd and 3 to a little 3rd and 8.5.
It's the 3rd penalty for a total of 30 yards against the Sooners here. Oklahoma up 7-0 as we play late in the first. Hit is Jones, and the pass goes incomplete. Levi Koskin with the pressure from the backside that time. And from the 28, you're looking at what, about a 46-yard field goal, and so they may be looking at 4-down territory instead here.
That's just a missed block. So far the offense has been hit and miss.
4th and 9 from the Utah State 28-yard line. 2 receivers out left. And inside the 20 down to the 17, Cameron Kinney. That's a first down. Ball comes free, but it's after the whistle, and it's a first down for Oklahoma. That's a 4th down conversion. They'll spot it at the 15-yard line.
Very nice conversion there, and Kinney is a receiver who late in the season lost his confidence. Landry Jones buys time, bullet, nice catch, and he did a good job of not backing up, because a lot of receivers would do that, but he barely made the first down.
And now here goes Murray to the right side. And that's Gallagher with the tackle. He loses his headgear. Kyle Gallagher, a MAC linebacker for Utah State. 1-yard pickup for Murray.
Outstanding tackle.
That's the way Gary Henderson teaches it.
He's a defensive coach.
That's right. 2nd and 9. And Murray again hit just as he gets past the line of scrimmage, and again losing his helmet is Kyle Gallagher.
Give the man a strike, will you? Tell you what, the Oklahoma linemen are not doing a good job of opening a hole. And hand it to Utah State, one of the worst defensive teams in the country last year. He just slipped a block by Tyler Evans, rather an attempted block. 3rd down.
3rd and 7. Showing some terrific quickness, Kyle Gallagher. And the pass is high, intended for Stills, and there's the yellow marker. And Curtis Marsh, the guilty party.
Well, Marsh was there. He was in good position. The throw was a bad one. It was high, and there was no reason to interfere.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 23.
And I didn't
Spot
see
foul. Automatic. First down.
I don't know about that call.
Curtis Marsh, the senior cornerback for Utah State. He doesn't know about that call either. Sooners will take it inside the 10 at the 7-yard line.
That's a big call.
Huge on a 3rd down play. 3 receivers left for Jones, who rolls left, fires for the end zone over the head of Stills. Goes incomplete, 2nd goal.
You know, Jones is really becoming more mobile. He is able to throw it on the run very effectively. And I think they're also trying to get out of the pocket a little bit.
Well, with some uncertainty in the offensive line, move that quarterback around a little bit. As the night goes on, we'll get into the non-conference schedule, which stiffens considerably next week against Florida State. From the 7-yard line, Murray up the gut. It's down inside the 2, and will set up a 3rd and goal.
Oklahoma loaded up on the right side. Millard again, a good block to fullback 33. I believe the Sooners had 2 tight ends on the field as well.
Well, that's the other thing. This Oklahoma offense this year, now they've got some tight ends. Last year they were having to move tight ends like Brody Eldridge into the offensive line. And Murray to the outside, and he can walk into the end zone. It's a touchdown for Oklahoma, and it's an early 2-touchdown lead.
Nice job that time of sealing off the Aggies, who were looking to the inside. And again, number 33, a true freshman, Trey Millard. He was on the outside, does a terrific job of sealing his man, along with Eric Mensick, number 69, who I think you keep an eye on that guy. I think he's going to be a really good player.
So Patrick O'Hara is on for the 2nd time, trying to tack on the extra point, and this time it is right down the middle, and Oklahoma with 51 seconds to play here in the 1st quarter with a 14-0 lead. Drive that was helped along by the 4th down conversion, and DeMarco Murray finds the end zone for the first time this year. Sooners lead Utah State 14-0. Let's go down to the sideline. Alyssa Walker-Campbell with a special guest.
Hey, I'm hoping it up on the sideline with Oklahoma's men's basketball coach Jeff Capel, and you certainly had a very ambitious summer, led Team USA 18 and under to a gold medal. What was that experience like?
It was a great experience. We had a great group of guys. First of all, it's an honor to be chosen by my peers to represent our country, and it was really good to bring the gold medal back home.
It is hard to believe that your season is just around the corner. Sooner fans are very anxious. What can they look forward to, Jeff?
Well, we have a lot of new guys. We'll have 8 new faces. We have some returning guys back, but it'll be a team that plays hard, that plays tough, and really competes every possession.
Tell us about the schedule. You get to go to Hawaii. What kind of job is that?
Well, it's a great trip, but it's a really tough field over there, and we follow that back up as soon as we get back. We're at Arizona and at Arkansas. Have Cincinnati here in the all-college, so very challenging non-conference schedule, but it helps get us prepared for Big 12.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
You can go to Soonersports.com for ticket information.
All right, thanks, Alyssa and Coach Capel. Well, there was Ronell Lewis. You talk about a guy they called the Hammer. He delivered again on that kick coverage.
Well, he has pretty good numbers. He's 6'3", 235. No, it's 245, and he runs a little over 4'5", but under 4'6". And he's the one we talked about earlier, the violent hitter.
Right. Saw it time and time again on kickoffs last year. And there's a hit applied on the outside by Tony Jefferson. It's an incomplete pass, and 2nd and 10 at the 25 for Utah State.
Brought the pressure that time. Brent Venables dialing it up. McFarland.
David King there. Yep. Well, and then on the from right defensive end, number 90, David King, also applying some pressure on Burrell. 2nd and 10. And it's Spate for about 4 yards. Wart in on the stop, as was David King. Dean, I want to go back to that punt earlier in the game. It was pilot error on my part. I'd forgotten the play that got the Sooners from the 4 to the 11, so I called it a 92-yard punt. Actually, an 85-yard punt.
Tressway's not as good as I thought. So, Wahoo McDaniel fans and relatives, you still own the record at 91 yards.
There you go. And right at the first down stake right there, the hit delivered by Fleming, and it's Eric Moats on the receiving end of the pass. And it is a first down at the 35-yard line.
And Bill, don't say that I played with Wahoo, okay?
I used to watch him.
Did you?
On Saturday Night Wrestling.
That's right. That's right.
I didn't watch you play football, but I watched Wahoo McDaniel wrestle. Hey, we're through one quarter of the 2010 season, and as much excitement as there's been through one quarter, it feels like a half. 14-0. Bob Stoops and the Sooners lead Utah State. We've seen an 85-yard punt. We've seen DeMarco Murray reach the end zone, and we've seen Ryan Broyles go into the end zone as well. Sooners lead the Aggies of Utah State through one quarter of play here in the season opener in 2010. Bill Jones with Dean Blevins as Utah State has a first down at its own 35-yard line. Sooners with that four-man front on defense, and there is an early whistle.
Oklahoma takes their first charge, team timeout.
So coming out of the timeout at the quarter break, the Sooners take a timeout. Adrian Taylor. Boy, Dean, you saw that injury last year. We'll talk about Adrian Taylor when we come back here, as Taylor is getting his first action in 2010, and a lot of people didn't think that was possible after the Sun Bowl injury last year. Only here in Norman. Lead 14-0. Had to take the early timeout in the second quarter. We get started now here in the second with a 1st and 10 for Utah State. DeAndre Borrell, the quarterback, fires right side and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. That is a completion of 5 to Mikael Morgan. Boy, Adrian Taylor, though, Dean, is just a terrific story for Oklahoma, and how quickly he was able to come back from that gruesome injury.
Oh, he had one of the worst injuries, a fractured ankle, and it was one of those so nasty that the networks only showed it the first time he saw it, never would go back to it, but the foot was actually turned the wrong way.
And a whistle at the snap again, and a flag down.
There's no foul on the play. Utah State takes their first charge, team timeout.
So a sputtering start to the second quarter here, as Oklahoma first calls the timeout, and then one play later Utah State right at the snap decides it needs to take a timeout as well.
Well, you rightfully called the first quarter action enough for the first half, but I think we've started here and we're going backwards.
But back on Adrian Taylor, I mean, yeah, as you said, the networks didn't want to show the replay of that one more than once, and just, you've been around this guy for the last several years. He and Gerald McCoy last year, what they meant to this Oklahoma defense in the interior.
Well, everyone knows about Gerald McCoy. When you go number 3 in the draft, you're a fabulous player. He was able to get double teamed a lot, which freed up Adrian Taylor some. Adrian Taylor, though, is a menace regardless of how many people block him, and he's a better person. He has struggled through a lot of issues. He is a wonderful example for kids around him, and obviously his work ethic is impeccable to be able to come back like this. I'm stunned that he's playing right now.
He's being tended to on the sideline as Casey Walker's back in there at defensive tackle, and right through that hole where Adrian Taylor would have been. A big pickup that time by Michael Smith. Quentin Carter on the stop, but inside Oklahoma's end of the field at the 49.
Getting confused a little bit is a freshman, a redshirt freshman, Tom Wirt, number 21. They're really high on him, but they've got some new kids back there playing, and occasionally they're getting out of position. It's not physical talent, Bill, certainly not against a Utah State with some of the kids that Oklahoma's recruited, but a wrong step, lining up in the wrong position by a half foot, you're going to be there a little late. And Wirt will be a remarkably successful player, I feel comfortable in saying, before it's all said and done. But this is his real first live action.
And you talk about a position as they give up the middle for a couple of yards. Is Wirt, you talk about a position that is so difficult to learn. Bob Stoops says middle linebacker probably right up there with quarterback.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's a good look at Travis Lewis, who is an All-America player and a tremendous leader. He has all the intangibles you look for.
Now Burrell on 3rd down will loft it downfield and over the head of Morgan, who had a step on Fleming over there.
Well, nothing against Utah State, but if that's teams like Florida State and Texas, that's a touchdown. just beaten was Fleming. And you had it right, just beaten by a step, but that's all it takes.
Yeah, Christian Ponder coming in here next week for Florida State, a team that put up 59 points, on Samford today, but the test is going to be a little more difficult next week. It's 4th down for Utah State, 4th and 4 from the Oklahoma 43-yard line. So here's Peter Caldwell, who handles not only the punting but place-kicking duties for the Aggies. Boyles will let it hit, and it looked like it got to the goal line, although there's no signal from the officials. Now there's the touchback. Boy, once again, Utah State is right down there and almost pinned the Sooners down at its own 1-yard line.
You know, Utah State has had 3 things go against it. That penalty that allowed Oklahoma to score. Also on that play right there, and Oklahoma is lucky to be ahead 14-0.
Oklahoma leads Utah State 14-0 for another capacity crowd here in Norman, Oklahoma. Young and old, they come out to watch their Sooners, and it's been so good over the last 11+ years for Bob Stoops. From the 20-yard line, Landry Jones with a fake to Jeremy Calhoun. Now a throw back to the middle, goes incomplete. Landry Jones' progress over the last year, what Bob Stoops talks about.
Every area,
Personal
Coach
foul.
Heike does a great job developing our quarterbacks technique-wise, fundamentally, mentally, everything that they do. And as a young quarterback, he's going to continue to progress. He's a smart guy. He works hard. And he's very similar to the guys we've had. You know, I say it in a lot. We've won 6 different Big 12 championships with 5 different quarterbacks. So that says quite a bit in how we're able to develop guys. And Landry is in the mold of all of those guys. So he has a lot of the same qualities. So we expect him to continue to be, to work to be a championship type quarterback.
And Landry and the Sooners benefit there with a roughing the passer call, a 15-yard penalty. New set of downs at the 35-yard line. Swings it out to Jeremy Calhoun. He'll get a couple out to about the 37.
Being behind Sam Bradford for a couple of years and looking up to him and seeing all the wonderful things that he did was a great boost to him. And Heupel's a very, very good coach.
As he was a very, very good quarterback, too. Going deep down the left side, and a very athletic maneuver by Ryan Broyles trying to come up with that one, but it goes incomplete. It'll set up a 3rd and 8. And Landry Jones is another guy who, about a year ago tonight, got thrown into the fire a lot more quickly than anyone anticipated.
Well, you can look back on that season and point to that injury, although there were tons of other injuries, but the injury to Sam Bradford, even though Jones played well, was just devastating.
3rd and 8 from the 37. And then flushed out a little bit is Jones, and he'll throw it away incomplete, and it'll bring up a 4th down play.
Good coverage on the back end back there. Nobody could shake loose and get open. Landry Jones doing the smart thing, getting rid of it.
And so Tressway will come on.
Oh, you stumbling around some on offense, and you've got to hand it to Coach Patterson. This is a very much improved defense.
You look at the starters for Utah State as Way had the 85-yarder earlier from his own 11 all the way to the Utah State 4-yard line. Put some decent pressure on Way that time. There are a lot of seniors starting for Utah State. There's a mix-up down there at the 22-yard line. Sooners say they have the football. As Bowden there was right around the ball trying to block one of the Sooners. Did he touch it? That's the question.
I don't think the official is in agreement there. They may have to take a look at this one.
And yes, the official says it's Oklahoma football. Take another look here. Just an incidental tap of the foot on the ball right there. The Sooners saw it, and fortunately for the Sooners, the officials saw it as well.
Boy, you can't be around that football. Have to know where that ball is at all times. Although they are going to look at it in review.
Alfred Bowden, number 29, was the Utah State player that was just trying to block one of the Sooners. And even though his teammates, you could see Kerwin Williams saying, get away, but he's 15 yards behind him.
I couldn't tell from this angle. It looked like it hit him, but it all depends on the angle that the officials have. And I know you hate to hear this, but they have to have conclusive evidence to turn it around.
So the thing to keep in mind, the ruling on the field is that it's Oklahoma football. So they would have to have conclusive evidence that he did not touch the football with his foot.
And they would have to have different angles than that.
So nothing we have seen yet would be conclusive that he did not touch the ball. On that shot, the football was blocked by an Oklahoma player. I think this is one of those replays that had the ruling been different on the field, then and gone Utah State's way, that the replays couldn't show conclusive evidence.
You know, the players' reactions are as if it is a turnover here or a fumble, because Oklahoma players immediately, here we go.
Mike DeFee, the referee, as the play is under review. Sooners with the 2-touchdown lead here and hoping to take possession.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. Oklahoma's ball, 1st and 10.
What I was saying is that Bowden didn't come up and be adamant about the call, and you know, if you didn't touch it and they make a call like that, you're in the referee's face, and he didn't do that, and so that's a good sign that that was the proper call.
And I think it was probably such an incidental tapping of the football with his foot that he probably didn't even realize that it had hit him. Doesn't take much, but immediately there were 4 or 5 Sooners ready to pounce on it, so they saw it, and fortunately for Oklahoma, the officials agreed. So from the 22-yard line, DeMarco Murray tries left tackle, and he gets inside the 20. They'll mark it at the 19.
Bill, Oklahoma turns around, hands it to DeMarco Murray on the first play of the game, and he scoots for some 30-40 yards. And since then, Utah State has had the clamps on them pretty much in the run game.
Now rolling right on 2nd and 7, wide open in the end zone. Cameron Kinney, touchdown Oklahoma. And there is a flag down at the 19-yard line on the near side of the field.
Illegal shift. Offense. 2 men moving without resetting. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
So hold on the celebration. It's coming back.
Well, we talked about what the important things that Oklahoma wanted to get accomplished tonight, and the first thing we said was play a clean game, cut down on the penalties.
Well, in the first quarter, there were 3 penalties for 30 yards, and now the Sooners, that's a big penalty there. Takes away a touchdown. So now 2nd and 13 from the 24. And coming up with the football, Utah State has it. An athletic play by Chris Randall, the cornerback for the Aggies, taking away the screen and taking away the football.
Landry Jones had too many interceptions last year. That one was one you've got to throw away, and you don't throw it away where the defender even has a chance. Ryan Broyles, well defended, as Utah State had that one sniffed out.
When you talk about big plays in a game, and Chris Randall comes up with one for Utah State defensively there, and it came the play after Oklahoma had an apparent touchdown that was nullified due to a penalty in their own offensive backfield.
That was, you look at that.
Been trapped there.
Bob Stoops could use a, he didn't do it.
Didn't challenge it, and so Utah State runs the football, and we'll never know. I mean, we can speculate. We can look at a replay ourselves and speculate, but it's going to stand.
There's Wirt making another play. Brent Venables last year, the defensive coordinator for Oklahoma, said that he had not had a freshman come in and show as much maturity, understand the game as much, and be as comfortable in the system as Wirt was last year.
Just a devastating preseason injury in the pass. Pretty pass, but out of bounds, intended for Matt Austin. DeAndre Burrell. 3rd and 12 coming up for Utah State. The other thing Brent Venables talked about this week with us is, you know, Austin Box goes out with the injury this year, and Austin Box was the starter at middle linebacker. And Wirt had to go in there and play for him, and there's a lot of potential there with Wirt. Venables loves Wirt, his work ethic and his intensity and everything, but Austin Box had the lead on him as preseason drills began.
Knowing,
big loss.
Knowing where to be and when to be there is important.
In trouble, Burrell, but he's so slippery, and he gets out near the first down marker. Didn't quite get there, but there was some great evidence there of why he put up the numbers he did last year.
Patterson motioning to go punt. I don't know. Well, you probably don't want to gamble. You could get down 21-0 and it could snowball, but 3rd and short, I don't know. Mike Leach would, I was thinking of who all the coaches would be who would go for it in that situation. Mike Leach is the first that comes to mind.
There are some coaches who would fake it right here too, but not this one. Gary Anderson decides to go ahead and punt away. Ryan Broyles was deep, and fortunately for Utah State, he punted it short enough that Ryan Broyles couldn't get his hands on it. We know what a threat he can be in the return game. He was all Big 12 as a punt returner last year, much less what he did in the receiving game. Sooners up 14-0, and with another special guest, here's Alyssa Walker-Campbell.
I'm alongside Oklahoma head women's basketball coach Sherry Cole, who's coming off another outstanding season. You've had the opportunity to reflect on that season, digest it. What do you take away from?
You know, it was incredibly refreshing. Those kids just believed in one another. They believed in Oklahoma, and they made some terrific things happen in the face of some adversity, and they were just a joy to coach.
Certainly the biggest question on Sooner minds is they want to know, how is Whitney Hand? How is she doing?
She's doing great. You know, her mental toughness as a result of what happened last fall with the ACL has put her in a position to be able to handle this. Unfortunately, a few months yet until we see her on the floor, but when she gets back, she'll be as good as new, and she's in there coaching the young guys and teaching them everything she knows, so we're looking forward to having her back for Big 12.
A lot of momentum coming into your program this year. You've had another outstanding recruiting class. I'm excited. Got a lot of post players. Talk to me about them.
Yeah, people more your size than mine, which is a good thing. Junior college transfer from Serbia originally, Jelena Serena. We're very excited about her. Comes in about 6'5", and then true freshman out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Nicole Griffin, who comes in about 6'6", and then a little bitty one more my size out of Las Vegas, Nevada, Aaron Ellenberg. All in all, we have 6 new guys on this team, so a lot of new faces to get accustomed to, and some guys who will help us.
Thanks for stopping by, Sherry, and all that you do for Oklahoma women's basketball.
Thank you.
What a great program Sherry Cole has, the women's basketball team here at Oklahoma. And despite a second down completion of 7 yards to Ryan Broyles, the third down incompletion means Tress Way is on to punt.
There have been a couple of times that it looks like the receivers may have stopped instead of continuing their routes, even on the interception, perhaps Ryan Broyles, and there on that one, perhaps that's what happened, but not the best ball from Landry Jones.
So it's a 3 and out, and once again, big rush put on by Utah State. Not a lengthy punt this time. In fact, it goes out of bounds just inside Utah State's end of the field. It hit at the 50, goes out at the 47. That's where Utah State takes over next. Just over 10 minutes to play in the first half here in Norman. Just an absolutely beautiful evening for football. Things have stalled a little bit offensively for the Sooners here in the second quarter, but it's still early yet. Utah State taken over on offense from its own 47. Travis Lewis, Ronell Lewis in on the stop of Michael Smith that time.
Sooner linebacking crew has a chance to be one of the best that Oklahoma's had, and one of the best in the country with Lewis and Wirt and Travis Lewis. Have two Lewises in there.
And Ronell Lewis is a guy that Brent Venables is using as a defensive end as well at times. Going to use him in a variety of ways. Burrell with time, now flushed out as McGee charges in from his defensive tackle position, and Burrell has to throw it away. It's third down.
Boy, that's some good speed by Stacy McGee. He came in the class with Jameel Owens, who was an All-America receiver, and a lot of people just sort of overlooked this Stacy McGee. He came in about 250, and he's up to 280 now, and they think he's going to be a player. He needs to be with the injury to Adrian Taylor.
That was the 2008 class, redshirted that year. Only appeared in a couple of games last year, but he's getting the starting nod at the outset of this year. With the depletion interior of the defensive line, they need him to come through. Third down, and under pressure, Burrell slips away again. But he can't get past Tony Jefferson, who brings him down at the 50-yard line.
Boy, that's a heck of a play by a true freshman, because that cat is hard to tackle. Watch Burrell here. I'm sure he thought he was going to be able to elude the tackle in open space. Jefferson just trips him up, and it's fourth down.
Yeah, just enough. Tony Jefferson, one of those California recruits, like Brennan Clay. So Peter Caldwell is on. Done a good job pinning the Sooners back, and Ryan Broyles once again can't get his hands on this one. This time it goes back into the end zone for a touchback, so Oklahoma will take over at its own 20-yard line with 8:42 to play here in the second quarter. That guy Ryan Broyles, what an exciting player he is. I know NFL scouts are just drooling over him at the next level. Of course, he's just a junior, and Landry Jones loves throwing him the football too. Look at Jones' numbers so far: 6 out of 14 for 52 yards.
They've kind of bottled up Ryan Broyles. That slot receiver catches more passes than the others. Sometimes they move him out as a wide receiver.
Now DeMarco Murray gets into a little bit of space into the second level that time. It'll set up a second and short. Got 7 yards that time.
Coach Patterson concerned about Oklahoma getting in space. They haven't gotten in space very often. Good job of blocking on that play.
That's one thing he talked about, is the need for his team to tackle so well against these athletes for Oklahoma. Murray has the first down. He got 5 yards out to the 32, and it was a game tackle at that point.
At times when Murray was here, this is his 4th year, and at times he would bounce out when he shouldn't. You know, a lot of high school players do that, but that time he should have, and he did. And it worked.
That time they put Murray out in the slot to the left side and gave the ball to the fullback, Trey Millard.
We may have had more fullback carries tonight than Oklahoma has had in the last 3 years.
I'm trying to remember the last time we might have seen a fullback carry the ball twice and a half. Brennan Clay now in the game. Yet another true freshman on 2nd and 8 from the 34. There's Murray, and this time it's a big loss of yardage for DeMarco.
Oklahoma has 9 freshmen on its 2-deep depth chart. That's almost as many as the last 5 national championship teams combined.
Well, you look at the class this year, and of course, anymore in recruiting, the class is basically taking care of the previous year. And so I think it's on the heels of that 2008 run. Texas is looking at the same thing. They've got a lot of true freshmen on their 2D. I think both schools are feeding off what happened in the 2008 season. Both recruit so well anyway. Landry going deep downfield, has his man. It's Ryan Broyles, and it's inside Utah State's into the field all the way down to the 35-yard line. Now that's more like it.
Excellent throw and catch, and he gets time. No one in his face. And that's an outstanding throw over the linebackers in front of the safety.
And timeout called by Utah State.
Timeout, Utah State. That's your second charge, team timeout.
Jones does a good job of looking off the safety. And he came back over the top. And that was a terrific throw and catch. But I think that's one of the things that Landry Jones, where he has improved. I know they worked on that. Is last year it seemed like he locked on to receivers quite a bit. And, you know, telegraphing throws you don't want to do. That was his freshman year. But he's grown in a lot of different ways. And you see that right there is a good example of that.
How difficult is it for a young quarterback to be able to take that the mental part of the game to the correct level that it needs to be?
Well, so much of it has to do with other players around you. He had a lot of protection that time. A lot of it has to do with maturity, your snaps, and the opponent. So there are a lot of issues, but just being a calm personality helps as well.
Sooners on the left side of the offensive line of Jarvis Jones at left tackle, Gabe Eichert at left guard, and slipping a tackle is Ryan Broyles. You see once again what Broyles can do when he gets the ball in space.
Well, that was the ball Utah State broke on. Look, for a second like that might have been intercepted and six the other way, but it wasn't. You got to zip that ball out there quickly, and he did, and Ryan Broyles did the rest.
So 35 yards to Broyles, now 14 yards to Broyles. Now rolling right is Landry Jones, firing for the end zone. He's got his man. Touchdown, Ryan Broyles.
Think those two like to throw and catch?
I'll say.
Hey, what about on the run, on the move? Landry Jones looking very comfortable on the move, and the line doing a very good job once again of sealing the defense. And then Ryan Broyles, of course, is going to get open most of the time. But that was an extremely well executed play, especially by Landry Jones.
They got him on a safety, Quentin Bird, who was defending on the play, and it was no match as O'Hara is on for the third time for the point after, and the Sooners with a 3-touchdown lead. It's the Ryan Broyles show all of a sudden when things start stalling out for the Sooners offensively. Now 6 catches, 100 yards. He had 3 catches for the final 70 yards on that drive.
Well, I'm sure the staff was happy to see that drive because they had stalled. They kept making mistakes. Utah State played well defensively, but that was a drive they needed to go punch it in, and you saw a little bit of all of it, running the ball and the big pass plays, as you mentioned.
80 yards, 7 plays, the Ford, Oklahoma scoring drive. The Sooners back on track offensively now. For Broyles, his second touchdown of this game. He had the first touchdown, capping a 69-yard drive. Eight 100-yard games now receiving for Ryan Broyles in his career. Right at the century mark now.
Ryan Broyles has done a good job of maturing. His first year here got in a little trouble, a small incident, sat out the season. He's a really good kid, comes from a great family, and he has really turned it around. Does a lot of charity work with the YMCA in Oklahoma City, in Norman, and it's good to see him have success, but at the same time have that smile on his face and be a good citizen.
Kerwin Williams finds a seam up the middle past the 30 out to the 33-yard line. Let's go down to the sideline now, and Alyssa Walker-Campbell.
Well, we got to zero in on Oklahoma's wide receiver, Ryan Broyles. Yes, guys, you talked about it. He's fast, he's elusive. Without question, one of Oklahoma's most explosive players, very physically gifted. But in the offseason, he and wide receiver coach Jay Norville spent a lot of time polishing his game, spending time in the film room. He wants to run good routes and block better and execute plays better. But he also realizes he's an upperclassman now, a junior. He wants to take on a bigger role, be a positive example, and a leader for the younger players out there.
Well, he's doing just that, as Dean was alluding to as well. Now a little option to the right side, and Michael Smith stopped for a loss of a yard. Iberoy in on the stop. Travis Lewis was over there as well. Javon Harris, number 30, getting in on the action.
Iberoy has moved up from safety to linebacker. He's a little under 220. He's about 6'3", but he moves very, very well. Number 5.
2nd and 11 for Utah State. Five-man rush, and now flushed out is Burrell. He'll throw it downfield, up near midfield. Is he out of bounds? Yes, he is. Incomplete pass. That's Matt Austin.
You know, that's pretty impressive by Austin and also Burrell, because he had half of the stadium chasing him, moving left, gets that ball off, and that's not to the short receiver, that's to the longer receiver, about 15, 18 yards down, running full speed. Just a half step too late.
3rd and 11. 4-man rush. Screen set up. Past the 40. Into Oklahoma's end of the field. It's a first down. Big play. 3rd down conversion. Dervin Spate. And Utah State, Quentin Carter finally knocked him out of bounds.
Perfect play call. Oklahoma had been getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and they were bringing heat once again. And actually a very good tackle here, a touchdown saving tackle by Quentin Carter.
29 yards on 3rd and 11. Pumping once is Burrell, now throwing downfield, and Morgan can't come up with it. There was some jostling going on down the near sideline. No flag. Jamel Fleming defending.
Jamel Fleming is as talented as anyone on the defense, and it's hard to get your eyes back on the football, but he has lost it a couple of times, but he was step for step with the receiver that time. It is very important that Oklahoma get good cornerback play, and these kids have not played a whole lot. Hurst, Fleming, and then you're going to see Aaron Colvin in here later.
And he's a true freshman from Owasso. Setting up the screen again and just throwing it into the ground in front of the receiver. Eric Moats was Burrell. Smart play by Burrell because nothing was there. Well, that's the thing with those two cornerbacks. And now you're looking at, I didn't see whether Brian Jackson made the Jets or not today, final cutdown day in the NFL. But you got Brian Jackson, who's with the Jets, Dominique Franks with the Falcons. Two guys that potentially are on NFL rosters, and you got two guys starting in this game, Hurst and Fleming, who are starting for the first time at the collegiate level.
Oklahoma very strong at safety, but those issues at the corner, they think they're great players, or potentially great players. How quickly will they become the players they can become?
3rd and 10. Ibeloy trying to contain him, but Burrell fumbles the football. Casey Walker can't pick it up. Somebody fall on it. Sooners say they have it, but they're not the important ones to make the final decision. A flag is thrown. Hurst is the Sooner down on the bottom of the pile, but it's Assisi who apparently got it for Utah State. There is a flag.
The ball was recovered by the offense. After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 21, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, that turns out as bad as it possibly could for the Sooners, because this is a ball that Oklahoma should have recovered, and I believe it's going to be Casey Walker, number 53. You never pick up a ball like this on the ground. I mean, never. And so he comes in with the hands wrapped and tries to pick it up. This is a solid kid, solid player, but that is a big mistake.
Especially when you're 6'2", 301 pounds, and
your hands are wrapped up, and you're trying to pick up
that kind of traffic.
Yeah, you got a slippery pig down there just flopping all over the place. You're not going to get that very often.
And there you see great pictures right there of how Assisi got the football. There is a Sooner down on the field way back in the secondary at the 15-yard line, and it's Travis Lewis. He's been down through this entire time that we've been showing the replay. Here with less than 5 minutes to play in the second quarter.
Oklahoma cannot afford an injury to Travis Lewis.
That's a good sign that he's able to get up under his own power, but hopefully maybe he just got the wind knocked out of him. But he was far downfield. He obviously was in coverage some 25 yards downfield.
Walking around woozly.
Yeah, little groggy is Travis Lewis, one of the leader of this defense in more ways than one.
You know, going back to that ill-advised play by Casey Walker, his hand is wrapped up because it's broken, to make matters even worse. Boy, Lewis is a really good player, though. He calls the signals defensively.
And from the Wildcat, Dervin Spate from the 40-yard line. And again, there was a penalty marker thrown, and it goes against the Sooners. That's why they were able to take over. Personal foul penalty against the Sooners. So the ball moved from the Utah State 45 into Oklahoma territory at the 40-yard line. It would have been a 4th down play, but instead, with a personal foul penalty, 15 yards marked off against the Sooners. Gave him the 1st down. That was a very costly penalty. Morgan tipping it up, or it's Matt Austin instead tipping it up, and he looks like he's hurt. Maybe it's a cramp. Jamel Fleming defending on the play. Almost an acrobatic catch.
Fleming has been all around the receivers. They're just something, I don't know if he's getting turned around a little bit, but he is in the vicinity. He has a lot of natural ability.
Did a good job of deflecting that ball away, and Austin could not come down with it. And he is the injured player here with just under 4.5 minutes to play in the 2nd quarter.
Bill, I can't say enough how stunned I am that Adrian Taylor is in there. I don't know if they were so frustrated. He was frustrated looking out and seeing the defensive front not playing well early. Because this is, I mean, for him to move around as well as he's moving, if listeners out there, viewers, if you didn't see this injury, it's hard to describe it to you. And the fact that he's worked so hard is just amazing, because you're not talking about a running back. You're talking about a 310-pounder with a foot injury.
Adrian Taylor, the senior out of Mansfield, Texas. So 3rd down, 7 for Utah State. At the Oklahoma 37-yard line. You have to think this is 4-down territory for the Aggies. Blitz shown. Tony Jefferson coming off the edge and firing over the middle and dropped at the 35-yard line. That was Dontel Watkins, who had room to get a 1st down if he held on to the football.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 21 of the defense. Contact to the helmet. 15 yards. 1st down.
Well, I know in the NFL they're cracking down on contact to the helmet of the quarterback, and they're doing it at the collegiate level too, apparently. That's Tom Wart, and he gets called for that.
Well, they're concerned about slowing the motor down with this kid. I mean, he is a fast motor guy. Jaden Bird is in for him, number 55, but Coach Stoops all over Tom Wart.
All right, once again, that's the 2nd personal foul, 15-yard penalty that has given Utah State a 1st down on this drive here in the last 5 plays. The previous one, it would have been 4th and punting. And that would have been a 4th down play upcoming. There's huge mistakes by the Sooners defense. Now looking to throw is the running back, Kerwin Williams, downfield out of bounds in the end zone.
Once again, great coverage by the boundary corner, Jamel Fleming. Oklahoma plays the boundary corner and the field corner, and the field corner is DeMontre Hurst. But Jamel Fleming continues to do a good job out there on the boundary. Big play here.
3rd down play once again for Utah State. The last 2 3rd down plays for Utah State have resulted in 15-yard personal foul penalties. The blitz is on, and throwing downfield incomplete. It'll be 4th down.
Travis Lewis must be feeling better. He brought the pressure. Utah State didn't pick him up. Burrell did a nice job of dodging Lewis, but couldn't find his receiver. Watch Lewis right up the gut. No one touches him.
Burrell doing all he can to get it downfield and not throwing it where red jerseys are, and giving his place kicker an opportunity here, Peter Caldwell. Fake. Wide open inside the 5. It's a touchdown, Kellen Bartlett. Some trickery from Gary Anderson, and Utah State is on the board for the 1st time in 2010. There is a flag down at the 11-yard line, however.
Ineligible downfield offense. Number 92. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Wow. Talk about Sooner mistakes. Eric Moats, the holder, to Kellen Bartlett for an apparent touchdown. However, I believe they're ruling Casey Davis, number 92. Yes, there he is, downfield. Inside the 5-yard line. He was down his field as far as the receiver was, Bartlett.
I don't know what he could have been thinking, Bill.
He wasn't thinking. That was the problem.
Just a, yeah, right. Just a killer mistake, and the officials are still huddled.
And the question is where he lined up on their field goal unit. But it was called on number 92, Casey Davis. And the way Gary Anderson is arguing the case, he obviously knows where his players, his personnel line up on the field goal unit. Maybe he's making the case that Davis was lined up in the backfield. I don't know, because it looked like he came from the interior of the line. We've had an Oklahoma touchdown called back due to penalty, and now this. He was lined up, and it looked like a tackle position.
Well, he's a defensive tackle by position.
Right.
It's hard to see with that look
whether he was covered or not, or if he was an eligible receiver. Obviously, the officials said he was not an eligible receiver, and so he was downfield. Now Caldwell with the field goal attempt, and it is good, and Utah State is on the board, but it's not 7, it's 3 points, and it's a 21-3 lead for Oklahoma.
Boy, that one had a lot of room to go. That was a 40-yarder, could have been 50, 60 yards.
41-yard field goal by Caldwell. Stoops talking with Tom Wirt, his middle linebacker, with 3:33 to play here in the first half.
Not very happy with that, because Wirt knows, they talk with him daily about the fact that he has to stay under control, which it's hard to do when you have that fast a motor and you've always played that way. You know, it's a fine line there, but the bottom line is he has to control himself. And the penalties are piling up.
No doubt about that, as now the Sooners have been penalized 6 times for 65 yards here in the first half.
Number 32, Braden Lumphus on to kick off with Utah State.
Brennan Clay and Trey Franks, another true freshman. 2 true freshmen are deep for Oklahoma, as Caldwell, after kicking the 41-yard field goal, as the ball teed up. And it's bubbled by Trey Franks, and he gets out to the 24-yard line. Franks from West Orange Stark in Texas, as Ryan Broyles was the key man on the last possession for Oklahoma. See what he can do again on this possession. Now another 100-yard receiving game for Broyles, 6 catches, 100 yards. He can do it all, Dean.
Yes, he can. Slippery little fella. Although he's not that little, he is really not beefed up, because he's lean, but he's flexible. He's all muscled. He has the whole package, and he'll be a very good NFL player.
DeMarco Murray, 24, out to the 28-yard line, a pickup of 4 yards, as Oklahoma, with 3:20 to go here in the first half, tries to add to an 18-point lead.
They would like to do what they did on the last drive. It would be a good way to end the first half.
Second and 7. Landry Jones in trouble, and he's dropped. He loses his headgear. Back at the 15-yard line. It's a loss of 12 yards.
Poor blocking, and Landry Jones cannot let that happen. Off the edge, numbers 7 get after it. DeMarco Murray, a pitiful attempt at a block, and Randall makes a really good play, but you got to throw that one away.
And the pass down the near sideline goes incomplete. Once again, the Sooners are back to sputtering on offense on this possession. 4th and 19. Bob Stoops doesn't like what he's seen not only on defense but also on offense now here late in the first half. As Tress Way is on again. Eric Moats deep for Utah State. The 85-yard punt by Way is average up around 52 yards. Last punt was just 29 yards. Fair catch called for at the 40-yard line, taken in by Moats. So decent field position for Utah State. And they've got some time to play with here with 2:27 to play here in the first half.
Oklahoma has shot itself in the foot, but Bill, I think it's worth noting that this is a better Utah State team, certainly better than the one 2 years ago when it came to Norman. I called that game as well, and that was not a good football team, wasn't as disciplined, and this is a much better ball club.
It's a 54-3 Oklahoma win in that one, the 07 season. So from the 39, Utah State, DeAndre Borrell rolls right, fires downfield, has his man inside the 30, this time on Jonathan Nelson. And the completion goes to Dontel Watkins, a junior college transfer. Utah State has a lot of transfers in the lineup.
Nice throw and catch. Oklahoma's defenders have been in position all night, but not getting their head back, not reacting to the football when it's in the air.
34-yard pickup. Now with time, Burrell fires over the middle, complete to his running back this time. It's down inside as a receiver, actually, Xavier Martin, another junior college transfer. And they're going up tempo. They're moving the football and have the Sooners on their heels at the 13-yard line, pick up a 14. The natives are restless. Quarterback draw. Nothing that way, and lunges forward to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Tom Ward back in to the doghouse earlier, but the middle linebacker trying to stuff this drive. This would be big if Utah State could punch this one in.
2nd and 11 from the Oklahoma 14 with under 1:30 to play in the second quarter. Jeremy Beal flushes him out inside the 10, breaks a tackle inside the 5 to the 4-yard line. 10-yard run for DeAndre Borrell, the senior from Oakley, California.
That's why the coaches were scared of this guy, and why Utah State says is they can only go as far as his legs and arms will take them.
3rd and 1 from the 4. From the Wildcat, up the middle, into the end zone goes Michael Smith, and Utah State riding a wave of momentum as their first touchdown of the year.
Will be an interesting locker room at halftime for the Sooners. And a probable 2-point attempt here.
In fact, that's exactly what it appears is happening. However, now Moats, the holder, is lined up one of those Mike Leach ninja formations.
Yeah,
it's what it looked like. But now they've gone back to the standard point after formation here. And Caldwell just inside the right upright with 47 seconds left in the first half. The Sooner lead that was 21 points just a few minutes ago is now down to 11. The Ford Utah State scoring drive, it took 1:40, 61 yards in 5 plays, and Michael Smith finds the end zone. Wow.
Hit and miss for Oklahoma, and Utah State has been able to take advantage of Sooner errors.
Gary Anderson, as we mentioned, he used to be at the University of Utah, so with a fine program that really got things straightened out here in the past decade. Of course, had 2 unbeaten seasons. He was a part of those teams, defensive coordinator at Utah prior to taking over here. And of course, they beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. in the 2008 season. Just after that is when he got the Utah State job. Went 4-8 last year. It's a Utah State program that over the last 29 years has had only 2 winning seasons.
Yeah, not many places you would say 4-8 was a good year.
Right.
And I say that kindly. I'm not making fun of, making light of that. This is the guy they need coaching the program.
Yeah, Oklahoma trying to get some field position here out near the 28-yard line. DeMarco Murray back returning kicks.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Oklahoma just wanted to get into the locker room right now and regroup.
It'd be nice to have a wireless microphone in that locker room.
We may be able to hear it up here.
With 41 seconds left here in the first half. OU at the 28-yard line.
Well, they're not going to down it.
Nope. See what they can do here with 3 receivers left. 1 to the right, DeMarco Murray to the right of Landry Jones. And looking to throw on a little screen pass to Murray. Well defended. And Utah State has one fired up defense. Junior Keaho, the stud linebacker. That's the linebacker position you want to play.
That's
stud.
right. Especially when the girls ask you what position you play, huh?
They've all been playing like studs here lately for Utah State. Lots of running room for DeMarco Murray. Can't get out of bounds. He's at the 37-yard line as we move under 30 seconds to play here in the half. And it's going to be a 3rd down situation for Oklahoma. Mark it at the 36, so it's 3rd and 2.
Well, they don't want to rush too much to give the ball. Have to punt it back. I think that's what you're seeing here.
And Utah State content to not force Oklahoma into a 3rd down play and then try to get the ball back. But clock winds down here in the first half. It started like gangbusters for Oklahoma in the first quarter, but not so much in the second quarter. And be interesting to see what Bob Stoops has to say in the locker room at halftime, as Landry Jones has a couple of touchdown passes to Ryan Broyles. DeMarco Murray ran it into the end zone to give Oklahoma the 21-0 lead, but it's been all Utah State here in the final 5 or 6 minutes of the half. And let's go down to the field now, and Alyssa Walker-Campbell.
Certainly the point of emphasis in the second half is going to be defense and eliminating costly penalties.
Yeah, we've been very foolish. You know, that's all we talked about coming into the game, and playing smart. And we make some of the most foolish penalties that give them field position and ruin drives. So we got to work on it. We got to get them a little more discipline.
Certainly one of the positives, though, has been the play of Ryan Broyles, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, Ryan's a pretty special player, but we need to have more guys step up. We got to have a better blocking, better protection. So not very good right now.
Good luck in the second half.
I believe the coach is anxious to get into that locker room.
And he'll rev that up a little bit more than he did there.
You don't win 30 in a row at home and make the foolish mistakes that Bob Stoops is talking about. There were 2 personal foul, 15-yard penalties that kept a drive alive on 3rd down plays for Utah State on their first scoring drive. And then they take advantage for a touchdown drive. It's 21-10 here at the half. The 7th-ranked Sooners lead by 11. Sooners lead Utah State 21-10 at the half. Down on the field, Alyssa Walker-Campbell with the Utah State coach Gary Anderson.
Coach Anderson, take us into the locker room. What was the message at halftime?
Bottom line is just keep swinging, just keep fighting. You know, we know we're playing a tremendous team. We've fought some adversity on both sides and found a way to have some positive things come back to us. And you know, this team is they're focused right now. They're excited and ready for the second half.
Certainly impressed with the play of your quarterback, DeAndre Burrell. He has been very impressive.
Yeah, he's the guy that steers this ship for sure. He's a tremendous athlete, fantastic young man, and a great team leader, and look for more in the second half, hopefully continue. But it's a very good defense we're playing against. We understand that, and he has to make plays for us to be successful.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Alyssa. Very fine finish to the first half for Utah State, as in fact the Aggies have the total yardage advantage over the Sooners through 1/2 of play. That's one thing that stands out when you look at the statistical story from the first half. 218 to 207 Utah State leads.
And the time of possession right there, Utah State has that as well. And I tell you what, a couple of other things that jumped out to me. Oklahoma gave up 3 plays of over 29 yards, 4 plays of over 18 yards, but 3 plays over 29 yards is very un-Oklahoma-like. Defensive line really didn't get much of a push, and I thought that the biggest play in the half might have been Walker trying to pick up that fumble as that was turned into 3 points.
Yes, and the resulting personal foul after the Utah State Aggies recovered that fumble. That was in their own end of the field. Okay, Kerwin Williams with the second half kick return out to the 20-yard line. So the Aggies will take over here. See if they can ride the momentum behind DeAndre Borrell, their fine quarterback, here as we get started in the third quarter. Not great in passing numbers, just 8 out of 20, but he did have 167 yards throwing the football, and that isn't shabby at all through 1/2 a point.
We'll see what changes Oklahoma made and really what type of intensity they come out with here early.
First down from the 20-yard line. Moats the motion man, and the give to the running back, and hit by Quentin Carter for a loss of 2 yards is Dervin Spate.
This guy is really a headhunter. But he says he'd rather be a good tackler than a big hitter. Adrian Taylor in on this first series, and just amazing to me.
Well, and that's sort of a message from the coaching staff, too. He can play.
Yeah.
We're going to put him in there to start the half, and that one's thrown away incomplete, and it's 3rd and long for Burrell and the Aggies.
Tell you what, though, Bill, he was open. As you see Venables talking to Travis Lewis, who was trailing on the play. Don't know that it would have been enough for a first down, but that should have been a completion in 3rd and short at worst. No backs, 5 receivers spread out, and Oklahoma with its nickel package.
Bring Moats in motion across the backfield, fake to him, and under pressure and dropped. Jeremy Beal has his first sack of 2010, and that's a big one.
We were talking at halftime. Beal didn't really show up much in the first half, but here's a guy who is a technician. He's not the fastest or the strongest, but he is a flat-out good college player. And he really needs only 11.5 sacks to become OU's all-time leader. That tells you what he's done.
He had 11 sacks last year, first of this year, and in the 08 season he had 8.5 sacks. So Jeremy Beal got the message at halftime, and now Ryan Broyles lets it roll, and it goes beyond him, and a very nice roll on the punt off the foot of Peter Caldwell. And let's take a look at how it happened in the first half as Oklahoma got off to a nice start. Of course, it was DeMarco Murray rattling off a 39-yarder on the first play of the game, and the first drive capped by Ryan Broyles into the end zone, and DeMontre Hurst with an interception. Murray the touchdown run, and then it was Jones to Broyles covering 70 yards on 3 pass plays, and the Sooners were up 21-0, but here comes Utah State back behind Burrell. And they found the end zone on the run there by Michael Smith. As we go back live here, Sooners on offense from the 29-yard line, and a first down pickup of about 5 yards.
Peter Caldwell, a terrific first half, the punter for Utah State. He averaged 46.2 yards, and he's keeping it away from Broyles. 0 return yards for the Sooners.
That's a key for the punter. Lots of running room for Murray, with Jones out in front of him. He goes out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
Yeah, they don't need Landry Jones throwing any blocks.
12-yard pickup for Murray, who individually had 84 yards on 16 carries. He is the featured back now. And with 16 carries in the first half, I don't know that he's going to be carrying it over 30 times a game, but that's the dosage that Utah State got of DeMarco in the first half. Not much there.
Not much of a push by the Oklahoma offensive line. Sooners have not been under center much tonight. They run it most of the time when they are under center.
So 2nd and 8 for Landry Jones.
They went to the right side with this set a little bit earlier in the ball game.
Rolling right. And he throws it into the grass. Trey Millard, the true freshman, as Landry was under some pressure there, and it sets up a 3rd and 8.
Well defended.
Sooners got the stop on defense to start the second half. Now they're trying to get something going offensively. And here's a key 3rd down play here early in the 3rd quarter. An 11-point lead for Oklahoma. Blitz going deep downfield. And Kenny Stills, the true freshman wide receiver, was turned one way and the pass went behind him the other way.
Broyles was not open. Sooners didn't have an open receiver on the left side, and they were doubled up right there and actually had good pressure on the quarterback. So that's pretty good defense from one of the worst defenses in the country from a year ago. No place to go with that ball.
Gary Anderson's got to be real pleased with what's going on defensively with Utah State, really pretty much since the 1st quarter. Oklahoma did have one 80-yard drive in the 2nd quarter. Now Tress Way puts his left foot into it, moats the deep man, and it goes out of bounds. To see if they'll mark it inside the 20 or not. And yes, at about the 19-yard lines, where Utah State will take over when we come back. Oklahoma leads it by 11 here in Norman. Sooners lead Utah State 21-10 at the half. Down on the field, Alyssa Walker-Campbell with the Utah State coach Gary Anderson.
Coach Anderson, take us into the locker room. What was the message at halftime?
Bottom line is just keep swinging, just keep fighting. You know, we know we're playing a tremendous team. We've fought some adversity on both sides and found a way to have some positive things come back to us. And you know, this team is they're focused right now. They're excited and ready for the second half.
Certainly impressed with the play of your quarterback, DeAndre Burrell. He has been very impressive.
Yeah, he's the guy that steers this ship for sure. He's a tremendous athlete, fantastic young man, and a great team leader, and look for more in the second half, hopefully continue. But it's a very good defense we're playing against. We understand that, and he has to make plays for us to be successful.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Alyssa. Very fine finish to the first half for Utah State, as in fact the Aggies have the total yardage advantage over the Sooners through 1/2 of play. That's one thing that stands out when you look at the statistical story from the first half. 218 to 207. Utah State leads.
And the time of possession right there, Utah State has that as well. And I tell you what, a couple of other things that jumped out to me. Oklahoma gave up 3 plays of over 29 yards, 4 plays of over 18 yards, but 3 plays over 29 yards is very un-Oklahoma-like. Defensive line really didn't get much of a push, and I thought that the biggest play in the half might have been Walker trying to pick up that fumble, as that was turned into 3 points.
Yes, and the resulting personal foul after the Utah State Aggies recovered that fumble. That was in their own end of the field. Okay, Kerwin Williams with the second half kick return out to the 20-yard line. So the Aggies will take over here. See if they can ride the momentum behind DeAndre Burrell, their fine quarterback, here as we get started in the 3rd quarter. Not great in passing numbers, just 8 out of 20, but he did have 167 yards throwing the football, and that isn't shabby at all through 1/2 of play.
We'll see what changes Oklahoma made and really what type of intensity they come out with here early.
First down from the 20-yard line. Moats the motion man, and the give to the running back, and hit by Quentin Carter for a loss of 2 yards is Dervin Spate.
This guy is really a headhunter, but he says he'd rather be a good tackler than a big hitter. Adrian Taylor in on this first series, and just amazing to me.
Well, and that's sort of a message from the coaching staff too. He can play.
Yeah,
we're going to put him in there to start the half, and that one's thrown away incomplete, and it's 3rd and long for Burrell and the Aggies.
Tell you what, though, Bill, he was open. As you see Venables talking to Travis Lewis, who was trailing on the play. Don't know that it would have been enough for a first down, but that should have been a completion in 3rd and short at worst. No backs, 5 receivers spread out in Oklahoma with its nickel package.
Bring Moats in motion across the backfield, fake to him, and under pressure and dropped. Jeremy Beal has his first sack of 2010, and that's a big one.
We were talking at halftime. Beal didn't really show up much in the first half, but here's a guy who is a technician. He's not the fastest or the strongest, but he is a flat-out good college player. And he really needs only 11.5 sacks to become OU's all-time leader. That tells you what he's done.
He had 11 sacks last year, first of this year. And in the 08 season, he had 8.5 sacks. So Jeremy Beal got the message at halftime, and now Ryan Broyles lets it roll, and it goes beyond him, and a very nice roll on the punt off the foot of Peter Caldwell. And let's take a look at how it happened in the first half as Oklahoma got off to the nice start. Of course, it was DeMarco Murray rattling off a 39-yarder on the first play of the game, and the first drive capped by Ryan Broyles into the end zone, and DeMontre Hurst with an interception. Murray the touchdown run, and then it was Jones to Broyles covering 70 yards on 3 pass plays, and the Sooners were up 21-0, but here comes Utah State back behind Burrell. And they found the end zone on the run there by Michael Smith. As we go back live here, Sooners on offense from the 29-yard line, and a first down pickup of about 5 yards.
Peter Caldwell, a terrific first half, the punter for Utah State. He averaged 46.2 yards, and he's keeping it away from Broyles. 0 return yards for the Sooners.
That's a key for the punter. Lots of running room for Murray, with Jones out in front of him. He goes out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
Yeah, they don't need Landry Jones throwing any blocks.
12-yard pickup for Murray, who individually had 84 yards on 16 carries. He is the featured back now. And with 16 carries in the first half, I don't know that he's going to be carrying it over 30 times a game, but that's the dosage that Utah State got of DeMarco in the first half. Not much there.
Not much of a push by the Oklahoma offensive line. Sooners have not been under center much tonight. They run it most of the time when they are under center.
So 2nd and 8 for Landry Jones.
They went to the right side with this set a little bit earlier in the ball game.
Rolling right, and he throws it into the grass. Trey Millard, the true freshman, as Landry was under some pressure there, and it sets up a 3rd and 8.
Well defended.
Sooners got the stop on defense to start the second half. Now they're trying to get something going offensively. And here's a key 3rd down play here early in the 3rd quarter. An 11-point lead for Oklahoma. Blitz going deep downfield. And Kenny Stills, the true freshman wide receiver, was turned one way, and the pass went behind him the other way.
Broyles was not open. Sooners didn't have an open receiver on the left side, and they were doubled up right there and actually had good pressure on the quarterback. So that's pretty good defense from one of the worst defenses in the country from a year ago. No place to go with that ball.
Gary Anderson's got to be real pleased with what's going on defensively with Utah State, really pretty much since the first quarter. Oklahoma did have one 80-yard drive in the second quarter. Now Tress Way puts his left foot into it. Moats the deep man, and it goes out of bounds. So see if they'll mark it inside the 20 or not. And yes, at about the 19-yard lines where Utah State will take over when we come back. Oklahoma leads it by 11 here in Norman. Today's game is presented by your local Oklahoma Ford dealers. Check out the 2010 F-150 and drive one. Ford is the best in Oklahoma. Utah State taking over at its own 19-yard line. DeAndre Borrell with Tony Jefferson rushing on the blitz, going deep downfield. The pass is caught at the 45-yard line in Oklahoma's end of the field. Travis Reynolds.
Well, have we seen that before? Oklahoma being all over a Utah State receiver several times tonight, but not able to come up with a play. That time, Jonathan Nelson could not come up with a play.
36-yard pickup on first down.
That is the 5th play of over 18 yards, the 4th of over 26 yards against a defense at Oklahoma that just doesn't allow things like that to happen.
Explosion plays by Utah State. Not much on the ground there. Ball came free, but the play was whistled dead. David King in on the stop. He got the start at defensive end as the Sooners are without Frank Alexander. Frank Alexander wearing a boot on his foot. He has an ankle injury. He's in doubt whether he'd be able to play next week against Florida State. So the Sooners are depleted at the defensive end position. We've seen some of Ronell Lewis playing some defensive end. That should continue throughout the season.
That's a good point, though, with Frank Alexander. He's a tremendous defensive end. And not being in there, he's hurting Oklahoma. Big hit.
Yes, it was Jonathan Nelson coming up from the safety position, putting the lick on Dervin Spate. A couple of players from the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. He's out of Mansfield Summit High School, Jonathan Nelson put the hit on Irving MacArthur ex Dervin Spate. 3rd and long. Very quickly off the ball was Jeremy Beal that time. There is a flag down. The pass is complete and headed to the end zone. It's a touchdown for Utah State's Dontel Watkins.
And that will stand because that'll be an offsides on Oklahoma.
Offside defense, number 44. That penalty's declined. Touchdown.
43-yard touchdown pass from DeAndre Borrell to Dontel Watkins, playing his first game for the Utah State Aggies. The junior college transfer comes through. Borrell did a great job, by the way, getting past Beal and getting the ball downfield, and he got away from Jonathan Nelson and found the end zone.
Yeah, this is another big 3rd down conversion by the Aggies, and this is tighter than anyone would have ever expected.
It's down to a 4-point game here early in the 3rd quarter. 10-16 to play. Utah State has come to play. 21-17, Sooners by 4. What once was a 3-touchdown lead for the 7th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners is down to a 4-point cushion. It's tight here in Norman. The Ford Utah State scoring drive. They go 81 yards in 4 plays, capped by the 42-yard touchdown reception by Dontel Watkins. And the kick from Caldwell goes to DeMarco Murray. Murray gets upfield past the 25. Sooners will start at their own 27-yard line. Another look at the touchdown, Dean.
Okay, this is Watkins out here. Oklahoma, I think the cornerback is going to get confused as DeMontre Hurst does not get back. Number 3, Nelson, has inside right there, and there you see the misstep. Should have been for a short game, but regardless, the mistake was made by the cornerback near the line of scrimmage.
Hurst bites on the shorter route, and Jonathan Nelson, the safety, came over, and there was no cornerback to help him out over there. He was coming over to help himself, and he wound up on the guy that scores the touchdown. Jeremy Calhoun in there at running back. Well, the Sooners trying to establish a running game.
Yeah, we were talking about that during the commercial. Oklahoma needs to establish a run game. They should have physical dominance here.
And they're trying to establish something here, working the left side again from the 32 to the 35-yard line. Larry Anderson there. Go ahead, Dean.
Well, that being determined to run the football it looks like what they're doing now, and that's fine if you're successful. You know, it's one thing to just say, hey, guys, we're going to pound it at them, and then end up punting. And so now they must convert on a 3rd and long 1.
Brennan Clay, the true freshman, trying to power his way, had to get to the 37-yard line.
Don't think he did.
He's close, but not close enough, it wouldn't appear. So now it's going to set up, if indeed it is short, and it looks like it is, it's going to be 4th and less than a yard. Punt team, you heard it right there from Bob Stoops. You can't be happy.
No, can't be at all. Coming in a 34-point favorite and up by 4 with 8:40 to go in the third. Momentum clearly on the other side.
So Tress Way is on to punt once again for the Sooners. 6th punt of the evening for Tress Way.
Aggies having to waste a timeout because they had 12 players on the field.
State takes his first charge, team timeout.
And now Gary Anderson is an upset coach on the far sideline. But he's got to be pleased with the score right now. His team only trails by 4 with 8:26 to play in the third. What once was a 3-touchdown lead for the 7th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners is down to a 4-point cushion. It's tight here in Norman. The Ford Utah State scoring drive. They go 81 yards in 4 plays, capped by the 42-yard touchdown reception by Dontel Watkins. And the kick from Caldwell goes to DeMarco Murray. Murray gets upfield past the 25. Sooners will start at their own 27-yard line. Another look at the touchdown, Dean.
Okay, this is Watkins out here. Oklahoma, I think the cornerback is going to get confused as DeMontre Hurst does not get back. Number 3, Nelson, has inside right there, and there you see the misstep. Should have been for a short game, but regardless, the mistake was made by the cornerback near the line of scrimmage.
Hurst bites on the shorter route, and Jonathan Nelson, the safety, came over, and there was no cornerback to help him out over there. He was coming over to help himself, and he wound up on the guy that scores the touchdown. Jeremy Calhoun in there at running back. Well, the Sooners trying to establish a running game.
Yeah, we were talking about that during the commercial. Oklahoma needs to establish a run game. They should have physical dominance here.
And they're trying to establish something here, working the left side again from the 32 to the 35-yard line. Gary Anderson there. Go ahead, Dean.
Well, that being determined to run the football is, that looks like what they're doing now, and that's fine if you're successful. You know, it's one thing to just say, hey, guys, we're going to pound it at them, and then end up punting. And so now they must convert on a 3rd and long 1.
Brennan Clay, the true freshman, trying to power his way, had to get to the 37-yard line.
Don't think he did.
He's close, but not close enough, it wouldn't appear. So now it's going to set up, if indeed it is short, and it looks like it is, it's going to be 4th and less than a yard. Punt team, you heard it right there from Bob Stoops. You can't be happy.
No, can't be at all. Coming in a 34-point favorite and up by 4 with 8:40 to go in the third. Momentum clearly on the other side.
So Tress Way is on to punt once again for the Sooners. 6th punt of the evening for Tress Way.
Aggies having to waste a timeout because they had 12 players on the field.
Takes his first charge, team timeout.
And now Gary Anderson is an upset coach on the far sideline. But he's got to be pleased with the score right now. His team only trails by 4 with 8:26 to play in the third. Get the punt. Tress Way not on the field now after Utah State called a timeout. Sooners are up at the line of scrimmage, as if they're going to run a play from scrimmage here. Now pulling away Landry Jones. DeMarco Murray, the deep back. Trey Millard, the fullback. And Murray trying to get outside. And Murray Lunges forward, had the ball stretched out, hoping to get the good spot.
He may have gotten that with extra effort, but that was defended well and not blocked well. He's got someone all over him 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
They're going to have to measure it.
See, I think with the stretch, it got out past the 37.
I think so too. Whether they gave him the full extent of where he was placing the football out in front of him is another question. It was hard to tell on the near sideline with all the Oklahoma players bunched up right in front of the play. It's tough from our vantage point to see.
Normally, the side, hate to say it, but the team that's on that side normally gets the good end of the call. I don't know that that will be the case here.
Well, this will be critical if Oklahoma does not get the first down. They do get the first down, however. First down, Oklahoma.
Look at it. He shed the tackler at about the 34-yard line and was able to get around and pick up the first down by half the length of a football.
So a new set of downs for Oklahoma on 4th and a yard. He barely got the first down at the 37.
That is a gamble. I mean,
and the Sooners appeared to be content to go ahead and punt it, but when Utah State called a timeout, Bob Stoops decided, you know what, let's go for it. And they barely were up to the challenge. Pass behind Ryan Broyles, and it's 2nd and 10.
Poor throw. Got to zip it out there harder and farther.
Well, you run the risk of having that thing picked.
That's a gimme, though.
2nd and 10. Running room this time for DeMarco Murray down the sideline. He may go. He does go. Touchdown, Oklahoma. Trotting into the end zone the final 15 yards.
Well, he's had so many hamstring problems. I know he doesn't want to mess with pulling a hamstring, but you may look back at this when the night's over and say that that conversion by DeMarco Murray was the play of the night.
There was a defender coming across right there. I thought he might have an angle on him the way DeMarco pulled up, but he had it measured 63 yards for the touchdown, and the Sooners extend their lead. With just under 8 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter, Patrick O'Hara is on for the 4th time. Right down the middle. Won the job earlier this week. And no cause for concern on extra points anyway. 28-17, Oklahoma leads Utah State. That's just what they needed. And I think you're right, Dean. The more critical play may have been the previous run by DeMarco Murray, stretching his hand out, getting the football just where he needed to get the first down on a 4th down run.
Well, Utah State clearly has the momentum, or had at that point. They get the football at the 36-yard line, have a chance to go in and take the lead. And then Oklahoma's really in a jam. But the Sooners come back and have the big play. And it's not in the air. It's on the ground.
Well, finally, the Sooners are able to celebrate a touchdown. They had one touchdown drive in the 2nd quarter. Had a 14-0 lead through 1 quarter, but after taking the 21-0 lead, it was 17 straight points rattled off by Utah State. And finally, Oklahoma is able to get a little bit of breathing room here. Now they'll need a stand by the defense. Expressway, Chris Harris deep, as well as Kerwin Williams. Taken at the 2-yard line. It's Williams. Bottled up. Marcus Trice is down there, as is Travis Lewis. Yes, starters do play special teams for Oklahoma. Big play by Travis Lewis. Utah State on offense. Burrell, the quarterback, has been very slippery. They scored the touchdown, their first of the game, to cut the lead to 21-10 on a Wildcat formation. And then check out Burrell finding Watkins 42 yards down the sideline to cut it to 21-17. They have shown some explosion on offense. Now they need more of it. From the 18-yard line, Dervin Spate able to get the second effort, an additional couple of yards, 4 yards picked up.
Brent Venables trying to get his best players on the field right now, and he has Ronell Lewis back in. Ronell is really a Sam linebacker, but they have him playing defensive end right now because he's one of those guys who can rush the passer, and those people are hard to find.
There he is, number 56, playing at right defensive end. Working on Spencer Johnson, the left tackle, a good one, a 4-year starter for Utah State. Lofted downfield, and the pass is picked off. Quentin Carter has it, and that's just what Oklahoma needed. Second interception of the game for the Sooners.
Quentin Carter is a big play player for Oklahoma, and he comes up with the interception there once again in very good position. But that ball, DeAndre let that one fly a little bit, and it sailed high, and Quentin Carter comes up with the big play.
Throwing to a man he doesn't often throw to, the backup tight end, Taryn Lloyd.
Quentin Carter had joined DeMarco Murray. We'll talk to you about this in just a moment.
From the 39, DeMarco Murray tries to slip a tackle, gets turned around a couple of yards.
These two, Murray and Quentin Carter, were involved in mixed martial arts over the summer to work on flexibility and yoga and Pilates and other crazy things. Judo.
It's not becoming so crazy anymore.
No,
there's some NFL players doing that too. I know DeMarcus Ware and Jay Ratliff, they're into Pilates now.
Well, and that's what actually got those guys into it.
2nd and 8. DeMarco Murray stretching it out with a stiff arm and physical run with the stiff arm there by DeMarco Murray. Down inside the 35.
That's 21 carries right now for DeMarco Murray, and Kevin Wilson, the offensive coordinator, said that he wanted to make sure and get him anywhere from, his statement was 18 to 20 to 22 to 24. So take your pick, but he's in between that number now, and it's 6:29 to go only in the third quarter.
It's 16 of those carries in the first half. Now with 168 yards, and Dewan Miller, can he hold on? The bobble. He's fighting for possession with Gavin Jones. He's got it. And that's a first down at the 23-yard line.
Big play for the Sooners because they can't kick a field goal from there. Ball probably should have been caught cleanly the first time. But he does the next best thing and comes up with it.
I guess they might be able to kick the field goal from there, but I don't think they would attempt one from there because of the uncertainty.
Good point.
Not that we don't have confidence in Patrick O'Hara or any of those other kickers, but I'm not sure they'd try it. Because they aren't proven. Doing Miller again.
They've found something.
2 in a row to Miller. He's shaken up. Second and short. Another look.
Ooh, that could have been one of the, that was head to head. That's how you get a concussion.
That's exactly what Bob Stoops is talking about. He's pointing to his own head saying that was a shot helmet to helmet. Kyle Gallagher delivered the blow on Dewan Miller, and that's why Miller is shaken up. Stoops is upset.
That should be first down on the 7-yard line going in. You know, those some of those calls are real close.
Yeah.
There was one in a game either today or last night that was a close call. That one was not.
But the thing is, if you're going to protect players, you protect all the players, you know. 14-yard line, 2nd and 1. That sort of came in the course of play, but still, it was helmet to helmet. Murray with a spin move, needed to get to the 13. Looked like he got to that point on Looks like he's getting a spot that's going to give him the first down.
This is Murray's 10th 100-yard rushing game, becoming the 12th Sooner to have 10 or more 100-yard games, and that puts him up to 169. Yeah.
So first down at the Utah State 13-yard line. Sooners trying to take advantage of the turnover. Pass is thrown away as the blitz came on Landry Jones. He just got rid of it, didn't want a negative play.
Let's take a look and see what happens here. It's a bust. It is nothing more than a bust. Those are killer plays.
There's the defensive end coming, Levi Koskinen.
And Landry Jones had 2 receivers open.
So 2nd and 10. Broyles in the slot to the left side. They're going to run the football with Murray, and he's going nowhere. In fact, a loss on the play as coming through is Garola to make the play. Daniel Garola for Utah State.
Well, there's a lot of people looking at the offensive line tonight to see if they're going to play better than the one last year. They've done some things well tonight, but plays like that and the one before are not going to satisfy many people. 3rd and long.
3rd and 13 from the 15-yard line. Rattery motioning over to the Oklahoma bench, unsure what the play call is. Now they're set to go with a 4-man rush for Utah State. Flushed out as Landry Jones fires it and throws it away. Looking for Cameron Kinney over here, but feeling the pressure, he throws it away. And it's now 4th down from the 15-yard line, and Patrick O'Hara will have his first field goal attempt of 2010. You see, last year, Jimmy Stevens 11 for 13. O'Hara had 9 opportunities, made 6. Tress Wade had tried his luck as a place kicker. So many tight losses last year.
4 by a total of 12 points, and the kicking game entered into it in almost every loss.
John Nemo, the 4th string quarterback, is the holder from the right hash mark, and not good. It didn't look good, but it is good.
That's the ugliest kick I've ever seen.
It still counts as 3 points. It was.
That is now you wonder why Bob Stoops doesn't want to kick field goals beyond 30 yards.
It was a duck hook from the right hash mark that somehow made it through. The field goal is good. He just split the uprights right there with 4:15 to go here in the 3rd quarter. It's 31-17.
Well, coming away empty would not have been good there, but scoring on 2 consecutive series is good for the Sooners, and they're handing it right back to their defense. Another stop would be good. Up 14 right now.
I was so confident with that call that it was no good. Usually I'll wait. But.
Well, I mean, that's not a 4-iron hook. That's a 1-iron hook, and you don't hit 1-irons anymore.
These fans are fanatics, and McDonald's is on the search for one fan like these to be crowned the McDonald's Fan of the Season. So visit fanoftheseason.com to submit your video entry. The winner will receive $10,000 towards a fan cave and other great prizes. It's the McDonald's Fan of the Season. So 31-17 Sooners. It's like in baseball, it looks like a line drive base hit in the box score the next day. Instead it was a line drive duck hook field goal. And diving past the 30-yard line, Kerwin Williams, and Utah State has fairly decent field position to start this possession. 4:10 to play here in the 3rd quarter. 25 yards in 9 plays. The Ford OU scoring drive took a little under 3 minutes, and the 32-yarder from Patrick O'Hara. Of course, the Sooners got the Oski to start that possession by Quentin Carter.
This is a big series for Burrell and Utah State out here after playing so well the end of the half, and now Oklahoma being able to come back and score 10 straight.
He starts 70 yards away. Michael Smith, lots of running room, and this guy's got some speed. He's past midfield, run out of bounds by Fleming at that point. Another explosive play by the Utah State offense, this time on the ground.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the 8th play of over 20 yards.
And Utah State has over 300 yards in this game now, matching Oklahoma in the total yardage category. 22 yards for Michael Smith.
They were the 13th best offense in the country last year.
And a wide open receiver. That's Taryn Lloyd, the tight end he was trying to throw to last time when Carter had the interception. This time Lloyd was left wide open. Javon Harris finally makes the tackle, and it's a move the chains, first down, pickup of 15 yards.
Nice throwing catch confusion in the back end by the Sooners.
So all of a sudden Utah State moves from its own 30 down to the Oklahoma 33-yard line. 3 backs directly behind Burrell. And a 2-yard pickup for Michael Smith.
Nice job by Stacy McGee there for the Sooners. Trying to slow down this fast-moving train.
Less than 3 minutes to play here in the third quarter as Utah State tries to stay in this one. It's a 2-score game. And they shift into a 2 tight end set. 2 wide receivers as well. 1 back behind Burrell. And looking to throw, DeAndre Burrell. He's going for the end zone. Has his man. Touchdown, Utah State. The Aggies just won't go away. Xavier Martin, 31 yards.
Great execution, no pressure on the quarterback. And DeMontre Hurst is beaten. And the corners for Oklahoma, the young corners, are being exploited. A major concern basically because of youth, not talent, coming into this game with the cornerbacks. And their youth is being exposed.
I'll say 70-yard drive very quickly. Didn't take any time at all for the Aggies to move down the field. And we're down to a 1-touchdown game again. 31-24. Xavier Martin, one of those junior college transfers, his first career touchdown at this level out of Grossmont Junior College.
This is Utah State.
Native of Baltimore, Maryland.
Too much time and wide open. DeMontre Hurst bid on that. He was 4 steps behind. And that is 4 steps too many. Bob Stoops coaches the corners a great deal in practice and has really had some great cornerback play. And no doubt that DeMontre Hurst and Fleming and Colvin and a lot of these kids, Trice and Lynn, are going to be really good players, but they need to be good players right now. Oklahoma's schedule coming up is just a very, very tough gauntlet.
Ford Utah State scoring drive, 70 yards in 4 plays. It took only 1:39. You're right. You got Florida State, Christian Ponder, a Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback, coming in here next week. Cameron Kinney, one of the 2 deep men for the Sooners here. Short kick fielded by Kinney on a hop. Has some running room. Down the sideline, up to midfield, and hurdles out of bounds at that point. And Oklahoma will have great field position.
Well, this ball hits the ground, which you really don't want to ever have happen. But Kinney gets a good hop on it. And then he's off. That puts a lot of pressure on the kicking team when a ball goes straight to a receiver who is on the dead run. So Oklahoma gets a little bit of a break, but it was a poor kick to start with.
Inside Utah State's end of the field at the 48-yard line. Second straight possession that the Sooners have started inside the Aggies' end of the field. Last time it was at the 39, this time at the 48. And now Landry Jones had time, but then things break down, and it is the sack this time by Junior Keaho.
You cannot do that. You've got to get rid of the football. He had time to throw it. And Oklahoma must get better before these. Florida State, top-notch quarterback. Air Force option game. You have to start defending it now, and that messes you up for a pass team coming back in Cincinnati. And then you get Gilbert and the Horns. 4 very difficult games coming up.
Well, Jeremy Calhoun open in the near flat. It goes off his hands, incomplete. And it's 3rd and very long. Quickly to the line of scrimmage of the Sooners. Utah State was trying to make some substitutions. You've got 11 out there, I think. Oklahoma has to make it all the way down to the Utah State 38-yard line. 3rd and 21.
Rushing 3, dropping 8.
And off the hands of Stills, still looking for his first catch.
Pardon me, that was an open receiver.
So punt time for the Sooners with less than 2 minutes to play here in the 3rd quarter.
You know, I'm not sure that the receiver didn't stop another route. It's happened a few times tonight.
So Tressway is on. He was on for the 6th time last time, and the Sooners elected to go for it after the timeout. Now this is his 6th punt. Eric Moats calling for a fair catch, now runs away from it, and it goes out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. An effective punt by Tressway, and Utah State has a lot of real estate to cover, but that hasn't been a problem since about the 1st quarter for this offense. They've got 351 yards of total offense, and the Sooners have 313.
Oklahoma's enthusiasm is lacking right now, and Utah State has the momentum. We keep saying big series, but this is another one of them. And we didn't expect to say against Utah State there were a lot of big series.
They played 4 times in history, and you can count the big series on one finger probably in the previous 4 meetings. From the 14-yard line with 1:35 to play in the quarter. Play clock was down to 0, and then Burrell was trying to call a timeout, and they gave him the timeout. It looked like the play clock had run out, but
Timeout. Utah State.
someone on the sideline could have been calling timeout as well for Utah State.
Well, you know where Utah State will go when they get into a big play or a 3rd down situation.
No
they will attack the
play game. Timeout was called.
In the 4 previous games, how about this cumulative score? 230 Oklahoma, 27 Utah State, including the 72-3 game.
Back in 1974. Wonder if there was anyone in the booth that was part of the team back in 1974.
I think anyone could have tossed a touchdown or whatever back then.
Along those lines, Florida State, next week's opponent, came to Norman back in what year?
76.
76.
And Bobby Bowden had been, I think that was his 2nd year. And so they weren't very good at that point, but they did come here and get rolled. And the team that'll roll in this next weekend would be much, much better, riding a big high for the season opening win in the Jimbo Fisher era. Kicked off very, very nicely.
Yeah, they won 59-6 over Sanford today. 1st and 10 from the 14. They give it to Dervin Spate, trying to get outside, and Fleming forces him to the sideline. Travis Lewis over as well.
Don't know what Travis is talking about.
2nd and 10. Now 2 receivers out to either side for DeAndre Burrell. And at the 19-yard line, His stop is made. Demontre Hurst. Then he got some help from Tom Ward, the middle linebacker. Xavier Martin, who had the touchdown earlier, as the reception. And it's 3rd and 5.
Nice job of breaking down in the open field by Hurst and making the tackle.
Well, you can see this Utah State team just gaining confidence more and more as this game goes along. Big play here, 3rd and 5. And Durbin Spate can't hold on to the football. It'll be punt time. Ibeloy covering. Spate had it on his fingertips, but it slips away.
That's a very big play right there. There was a lot of pressure coming from Ronell Lewis off the edge. I thought he might have tipped that ball, but regardless, he did cause the ball to not be on target. Well, that would have been a move the chains play.
Caldwell has done a great job keeping the ever-dangerous Ryan Broyles in check on punt returns, and that punt was so high there was no opportunity for Ryan Broyles again.
0 return yards for the Sooners.
That's exactly right. Broyles such a threat. In the first half in the passing game, Broyles had 100 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns, only 1 catch for 5 yards here in the second half.
Isn't that something though? They've had 6 kicks and have successfully kept Broyles from having a chance to be a factor in the return game. Smart. I mean, they are playing very, very smart.
Sooners take over at their own 40 with 23 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. And the pass is complete to Kenny Stills. It was one of those back shoulder fade type throws because the quarterback was turned around and could not see the football.
Wow. Gets it out to where only Kenny Stills can get it, and you're exactly right.
49-yard line, pickup of 11. You see that a lot, especially in the NFL these days. The back shoulder fade has become a very popular pass. Very effective. On the slant, there's Broyles, and he's thrown down for another 1st down. 2nd catch of the second half for number 85. And that's the end of the 3rd quarter now, as the Sooners, with a couple of nice completions, pick up a couple of 1st downs, and maybe they can ride that momentum into the 4th quarter. It's a 7-point lead for OU, 31-24. DeMarco Murray went 63 for his 2nd touchdown of this game. Start of the 4th quarter. Oklahoma with the football at the Utah State 36-yard line. And Landry Jones with the handoff to DeMarco Murray, but that guy Kyle Gallagher makes the tackle again. He's had a heck of a game.
Yes, he has. He's been in the backfield or making solid tackles near the line of scrimmage all night long.
Quickly, Jones rolls left, throws downfield. Ryan Broyles near the 10-yard line. 1st down, Oklahoma.
Big time throw and catch right there. Landry Jones had yardage. I thought he might just tuck it and run, but he wasn't looking for the short yardage.
You have to think scripted plays coming out of the timeout as they quickly went with a running play. Didn't get much there, and then came back to the line of scrimmage with a roll to the left and a fire downfield to Broyles. 1st down, just outside the 10. Ball tipped up, and Utah State has come up with it. The interception by the Aggies, and it's Junior Keaho with the interception for Gary Anderson's defense, just when it looked like Oklahoma had something going on offense.
Well, the lineman is responsible for getting the defender's hands down. Easier said than done, but that was A great play by the defense, and the Oklahoma, I couldn't catch exactly who that was.
It was Casey Davis, the same number 92. Oh, you're talking about on the Oklahoma side.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was Tyler Evans or who it was, but whomever needs to get the hands down of Utah State. But now Oklahoma is where we were talking about, where they could be as this fourth quarter began.
9-yard line, Utah State takes over. Casey Davis, he was that number 92 who was the ineligible man downfield on the fake field goal early in the game. Makes up for it. Deep downfield, just beyond the reach of his streaking receiver Martin.
Well, it may have been an NFL throw, but he had a man open.
Yet another receiver running open.
Not a whole lot of pressure that time, and clearly he was open.
2nd and 10. Now, the Utah State offensive coordinator Dave Baldwin talked about DeAndre Borrell as being one of the finest quarterbacks he's worked with. Running play, second effort, past the 15. Utah State wants it. Michael Smith gets 7 yards out to the 16-yard line.
Yeah, good point. That's exactly what I was going to say. You don't think these guys are fired up? I mean, Wirt is a strong guy. He is not able to corral him, and makes it 3rd and short.
From the 16-yard line, they need to get to the 19. And on the quarterback draw. Can't get there. Nice job by Travis Lewis.
You know, I thought they were going to run that play, but I thought they may have more success. Oklahoma's done a pretty good job of containing him. They certainly haven't in other areas, but they have kept their eyes on him all night. And Travis Lewis, the veteran, had that one spied out.
Yeah, he has, with the negative yardage on sacks factored in, as minus 11 yards rushing, the quarterback does. Caldwell try to keep it short of Ryan Broyles. Some smart punting once again by Utah State.
Very smart.
So the Sooners will take over at their own 38-yard line, trying to unleash Broyles. '69 straight sellouts here in Norman, Oklahoma. It ties a school record. What a great past decade. When beyond a decade, the Bob Stoops era, over 5 million fans have filed into Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium. And no one's left this one, I don't believe.
No.
Bill Jones with Dean Blevins. 1st and 10. DeMarco Murray, nothing there. Strung it out well, Utah State's defense did. It's a 7-point game with 12:49 to play.
This game was a little unlike the average game during Bob Stoops' 30 home game win streak. The average score during that 30 games is 45-14.
Against a lot of times against teams with a greater reputation than Utah State. But Utah State has come to play, and they aren't playing like a team that was 4-8 last year.
Landry Jones has to get rid of that football.
It's a loss of 8 on the sack.
You get behind the chains, the play calling becomes much more difficult.
And they are way behind the chains again. 3rd and 18 from the 30. As time fires, a diving catch made by Stills at the 45-yard line, but it's 3 yards short of where they needed to go for a first down. It's 4th and 3.
Nice job of protection and a good throw, but that route was either cut off a little short. Might have been cut off just a little bit short, because you'd like to get out past that first down marker. But it does help in terms of field position, because I thought if they were going to hold him there, that Utah State might get the ball around the 35-yard line.
Tressway has averaged 46.5 yards on his punt. Of course, that includes an 85-yarder. Pretty one this time. Hits down at the 5 though and goes into the end zone. So you take 20 off the 55-yard punt. It's going to be Utah State taking over at the 20-yard line, down a touchdown and 80 yards away with just over 11 minutes to play, and what has turned out to be a good one here in Norman. DeAndre Borrell has put on a show for the Utah State Aggies tonight. They have matched the Sooners in total yardage, have bettered them in total yardage, in the passing game especially, and they only trail by a touchdown here. They take over at their own 20-yard line. The rolling right is Borrell, has a receiver for a pickup of 8 or 9 yards. That's Morgan. Well, the Sooners have been operating behind the chains. Utah State second and short here. Not a great completion percentage, but over 300 yards passing for Borrell. Had to get to the 30 for the first down. Just run it up the gut. Irvin Spate.
R.J. Washington in the game right now. Adrian Taylor and Jamarcus McFarland, the big guys in the middle. And Ronell Lewis, 56, on this huge possession.
First down from the 31. Less than 11 minutes to play. Play fake. Under pressure, Borrell gets away.
Goodness.
And coming back the other way now. And the pass is caught. What a play.
Wow.
Mikael Morgan on the receiving end. Borrell, a highlight reel play.
Wow. This is why the Oklahoma coaches and Utah State coaches were talking about him. Sheds one tackler, outruns 5 or 6 more, running to his left, throws it perfectly. And once again, an Oklahoma defender, this time Nelson, in pretty good position.
And running up the middle, it's Irvin Spate. The Sooners on their heels. That was yet another explosion play of 25 yards, and they quickly get the ball right up the middle for another first down, moving the chains. 13 yards for Spate to the 31. Little belly series here. It's like they're running the old option. David King makes the stop.
Well, there's nothing like momentum in sports.
And Utah State has the momentum right now. And they've had it for the better part the last 2 quarters. On the 29. With the ball is Borrell, the quarterback. Nowhere to go, but that doesn't matter with him. And it's Tony Jefferson who makes the tackle.
Running east-west, running to the outside, usually, very, very rarely works against Oklahoma, even if you are Burrell. Huge third down.
Utah State now with an empty backfield. 3 receivers right, 2 to the left on 3rd and long from the Oklahoma 34. Sooners showing a 3-man rush. Now they bring a linebacker and they set up the screen pass and brought down for a gain of 1. Travis Reynolds.
Well, Oklahoma's lucky there. They were out of position, and Ibeloy at the last minute came over, and he was in position by the time the snap came, and they sniffed out the screen pass. But that could have been a huge play had Ibeloy not come at his coach's urging there just a few seconds before the snap.
All right.
I would look for a fake.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. They set up at the 40. The holder at the 40, Moats. They had a fake earlier that was called back due to penalty on a much shorter field goal attempt, but this is a 50-yarder for Peter Caldwell. On its way. Has the distance, but off to the left, no good. And with 8:18 to play in this one, the Sooners trying to hold on for dear life against the Aggies of Utah State. It's 31-24. Landry Jones and the Sooners taking over on offense after the missed field goal of 50 yards by Utah State's Peter Caldwell. So it's from the 33. The pistol formation. DeMarco Murray tries left tackle, and it's a decent first down gain that time. Got up to the 39, a pickup of 6 for Murray, who is up to 170 yards rushing.
Question is, can the Sooners use clock at under 8 minutes and take it and score? They're using the clock.
As you joined us late, Oklahoma had a 21-0 lead in the second quarter, only to see Utah State come back. And now Murray gets the first down. Nice pickup. You have to think, too, that Utah State has got to be wearing down some on defense, because they've been going with their starters throughout this one without very many substitutions. In fact, they don't have very many players on their bench over there to substitute.
Well, what about their size? They are much smaller than a normal Big 12 big-time program would be.
The 2 defensive tackles are listed at 280. The ends are much smaller. Trent Rattery looking for a flag, and he got one. Yahoo.
Yeah, their front line goes 250, 280, 280, 238. Rattery releasing his man's all over him the entire way.
Defense, number 13. Spot foul, automatic first down.
It was an easy call. 46-yard line, first down. And nearing the 7-minute mark of the fourth quarter.
I would be surprised if you don't see quite a few runs.
And there's a false start. Haven't seen a lot of that.
Number 75, offense, 5-yard penalty.
Haven't seen a lot of false starts. The Sooners have been penalized much larger tonight. They're doing it in much larger quantities, like the 15-yard variety. So first and 15 from the 41. And he stills, went out of bounds near midfield.
I don't know if right now you're actually thinking about keeping the ball in bounds, but your objective is to shake the tackler. And I guess it depends on your perspective whether you're trying to keep it in bounds or not.
Quickly to the line of scrimmage for the Sooners, and there's a whistle at the snap.
Was there a timeout?
I guess there's a flag down in the secondary.
Substitution infraction on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, that's one of the other benefits to being able to run up tempo when you want to. Top of the screen here.
As Keaho did not get off the field in time. So the substitution infraction means too many men on the field. 46-yard line. Second and 2 for the Sooners. First down, Murray. And he's run out of bounds near the 40.
Big game for DeMarco Murray, and the Sooners need every bit of it.
Murray up over 180 yards rushing now, and he's carried the ball nearly 30 times in this game.
He has a few more totes to go.
28 for 186 and the 2 touchdowns, including a 63-yarder. That was a big play in the third quarter. Sooners with that power formation with the fullback Millard leading the way.
Good job there of just turning it north and south and getting 3 yards, but Utah State hanging tough. Despite, as you mentioned, they're not getting many players fresh. I mean, these guys have gone most of the game.
Just inside the 39-yard line, not much on that carry. Keaho limps off the field. Down under 6 minutes to play. Murray makes a move and is able just to get back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd and long.
That's why I was saying a moment ago about staying in bounds. Another big one. These two teams have been almost identical in number of snaps and number of yards. Oklahoma with 74 snaps to 71 for Utah State, and 406 Oklahoma, 411 Utah State.
Utah State 331 of those 411 yards through the air. 3rd down from the 39. Got to get to the 31 for a 1st down, and a nice defensive play on the near side of the field. Knocking the ball away from Kenny Stills was Curtis Marsh.
That play wouldn't have gone for more than 5 yards anyway, and the incompletion stops the clock, and Utah State will have a chance once again.
And from the 39-yard line, Tress Way is out on the field. Try to pin him back. 7-point game with less than 5 minutes to play. Who would have thought this? Aside from the people in white on the Utah State sideline. They may not have thought it either. Way.
You've got to kick that ball out of bounds. You've just got to kick it out of bounds.
But into the end zone for the touchback, and so from the 20-yard line, Utah State will take over. He's trying to angle it toward the left side, but he had too much foot into it. So once again, Oklahoma's defense will try to contain DeAndre Burrell.
I think the biggest concern for them right now is those corners trying to avoid giving up the big play.
Yeah. Two backs on either side of Burrell with 2 receivers to the left side. Utah State with an opportunity here. Throwing right side. Complete. Up near the 1st down marker. Martin just shy. Right on the 1st down marker. Right at the 30s where they needed to go. Move the chains.
What a big cushion was given Utah State on that play by the Sooners.
1st down at the 30.
Fleming really off his man now in press coverage at the top of your screen.
Looking right. Incomplete. Fleming covering Martin.
Well, it seems like we've seen a lot of those tonight, Bill, where Oklahoma's defensive back is in good position, but there seems to be contact toward the end, and a lot of times they've been coming up with the answer, coming down with the ball. But Fleming once again in good position.
Making his first career start tonight, Jamel Fleming, as is DeMontre Hurst, the other corner. Of course, the Sooners lost Brian Jackson and Dominique Franks to the NFL. Big question mark for this team this season. Downfield, incomplete.
Good pressure by the Sooners. Casey Walker, 53 up the middle.
Makes a big difference when you can put pressure on the quarterback. Third and 10 from the 30 with 4:19 left. Casey Walker over center. They're bringing 4-5. Burrell gets out. Tipped up. Fleming comes down with it. Was he in bounds? Yes.
Fleming has given up some big plays, but he's been in position a great deal tonight. Walker chasing Burrell. And Jamel Fleming in great position again. And what a time to come up with a pick.
Huge play by Jamel Fleming.
Big time catch. Burrell forces that one in there. Fleming will actually tip this ball to himself. The old tip drill.
Had possession, had control of the football, and had that left foot down inbounds, no question about it.
So now is the time you wish you had a kicker. But Oklahoma will not want to put themselves into a position to have to, and I'm dead serious, have to kick a field goal. They'll be in 4-down territory very quickly.
Sooners were trying to run a play there, and quickly the official comes up. It looks like they may want to challenge that to see. It'd be worth the challenge, I would think, for Gary Anderson. They do have a timeout left.
Utah State is challenging the ruling on the field of an intercepted pass.
I don't think, unless I missed something, I think it's only 1 foot in, and
right.
he
has the ball.
Well, we've got Jefferson in the way there. If we can get Tony to move just a little bit.
This angle, foot down.
Yeah, I think it was in.
Yep. And again, it needs to be conclusive the other way. The ruling on the field is that it is an interception. I don't see anything there that would say otherwise.
Now, that was a 3rd down play, correct?
Yes, 3rd and 10.
Okay, so we're talking punt regardless.
Right. If it were ruled incomplete,
right, it'd still be punted. We're just talking field position difference, which is critical at this point.
Didn't take long. Shouldn't take long. It's an interception.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a catch and an interception. Utah State is charged with its 3rd and final timeout.
Now, Bill, we were talking about the kicker and not wanting to be put into a position where you're having to try a 40-yard field goal, which they wouldn't probably even attempt. That means that a 1st down is critical right here. And at some point, it depends if you get to 3rd and 3 or 4th and 3. At some point, if you get it short yardage, it will become a 4th down series. They do not need any lost yardage plays.
1st and 10 from the Utah State 41. And that could be a face mask. There is a flag coming from the Utah State secondary finally. Nothing from the offensive backfield.
Boy, that'll be a killer for Utah State. They had that defended, and they should have had a loss on that play. Yeah, that's a penalty.
Personal foul. Face mask on the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down.
What a killer. It goes from 2nd and probably some 12 or 13 yards to a 1st down into that territory where you become in 4-down territory.
Utah State had it defended well, but he grabbed the face mask. Did Walter McClinton. Obvious call. Secondary, I thought they weren't going to call it. An official from 30 yards downfield and threw his flag. He had a good view of it. So it's a 15-yard pickup.
This is a series where this offensive line is tested. This is the one with Good and Hayburn and Evans and Stevenson. They were questioned coming into this game, and now they're really put under a lot of pressure.
I think this would be an opportunity to sort of impose your will on a very tired Utah State defense, but no gain there. Nessie with the tackle, lost his helmet. Those Utah State helmets don't fit very well.
I don't know that they have double snaps on them.
Of course, he's got a lot of hair.
Yeah, he doesn't need a helmet, actually.
DeMarco Murray's up to 32 carries now, approaching a 200-yard game.
Fullback blocking, pardon me, but is really important in this situation. The true freshman Millard.
On 2nd and 9, getting to the outside. It's a 200-yard game for DeMarco Murray as he is to the 18-yard line. The last Sooner to rush for 200 yards was Alan Patrick against Oklahoma State 3 years ago, back in 2007.
Millard did his job. Now, it's not 1st and 10. It was a big pickup, but now you're in 4th down territory. I just don't think in this situation that Kevin Wilson will I don't want to say have the guts. I just don't think they're going to throw the ball down here. They haven't had enough success.
2:21 clock running. Murray has his first career 200-yard rushing game, and they're going to feed him the football again, and he gets downfield for the first down inside the 15.
James Hanna, 82. Take a look at the bottom of the screen. He does his job very well, pins his man down, and that's a really good run by Murray.
It's a really good sign, too, to see the blocking of James Hanna. I recall a year ago against BYU in the season opener. That was one of the problems the Sooners had, because they had untested tight ends because of the injuries that they had in the offensive line. Hanna was one of those. He's come along in the last year. First down run by Murray inside the 10 down to the 6th. And again, Utah State has no timeouts left, and we're down to 1:30 and the clock rolling.
This game, let's see, should be over.
Yes, with 1:20. It's 2nd and 3. Are you a math major at OU? I can't count.
No, but I'm a genius. no, but I think this game is over.
And they are in victory formation. DeMarco Murray, 35 carries, 218 yards.
And Oklahoma will survive 31-24. Their offense coming up with a few answers. And sort of their defense did really late. It was a pretty good performance for the latter half of the fourth quarter when the pressure was on.
And we are now 35 seconds and counting away from the 800th win in University of Oklahoma football history. Not exactly the way Bob Stoops would have drawn it up, but a win is a win.
And if Landry Jones loses 3 yards on this, that will mean that Utah State and Oklahoma have the exact same yardage.
They're going to statistically mark it a 1-yard loss, I believe. Oklahoma with 423 total yards. Utah State 421. Hats off to Gary Anderson and that Utah State Aggie team. I know Bob Stoops has a lot of respect for him. And for the Oklahoma Sooners, it's 800 all-time wins. Officially, statistically, 422 to 421 total yards.
Well, that's 31 straight.
That's right.
National record. Guess you don't have to tell them how hard it was. Oklahoma will have a lot of improvement that they must find a way to come up with before Florida State, after their very impressive win today, rolls into town.
31 straight home victories going back to 2005 for this Sooner team. Lots to work on in the coming week. But a win is a win, and it's a 31-24 Oklahoma verdict over Utah State. Let's go down to Alyssa with the coach.
Coach, you win the season opener, but it was a little bit too close for comfort. Your thoughts on tonight's performance?
Yeah, it was not very good. Just way too many inconsistencies on both sides of the football. You know, lack of execution in a lot of areas, and give Utah State credit. I love their quarterback, Burrell. He's a heck of a player. I knew that coming in, and we couldn't get to him, couldn't sack him, and coverage was poor at times, and then offensively, way too inconsistent.
Talk about the positives offensively. DeMarco Murray, Ryan Broyles, I thought they did well and executed.
No, those two guys are special players, but we've got to have more, and we've got to have more consistency. I just too many spotty plays and too many penalties put us in the hole, so we got a lot of work to do.
Certainly a huge achievement, winning 800th game of the history here. How important is that?
Well, it shows the strength of the program through the decades for so many years, and Coach Wilkinson, really after the war started it, and when you look at what we've done since World War II, it's really pretty special.
Your thoughts on Florida State coming to town and having your brother home?
Well, it'll be different. You're never excited to play your brother unless it's for a championship, then one you has to win it. But once you get to playing, that kind of goes by the wayside. But I'm sure he'll be doing a good job.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Alyssa and Coach Stoops. Of course, Mark Stoops, the defensive coordinator at Florida State. And it is 800 all-time wins for the Oklahoma Sooner program. It's 116 years of Oklahoma football now. And number 800, it's 800 wins, 302 losses, and 53 ties through the years. And Bob Stoops alluded to it there. The Oklahoma Sooners do have the winningest college football program since World War II, and that is fairly significant. We got much more to talk about tonight's game. As Boomer and Sooner, they got to run a little bit tonight. They would have liked to have run more. We'll talk about it when we come back. Today's game has been presented by your local Oklahoma Ford dealers. Check out the 2010 F-150 and drive one. Ford is the best in Oklahoma. And by McDonald's. Stop in and enjoy the McDouble on McDonald's dollar menu at participating locations. I'm loving it. And Sooner fans love a victory. 31-24 may not have been exactly how they envisioned it as the night began, but win number 800 is in the books by 7 points for the 7th-ranked team in the country. And it was number 7 who stars for the Sooners in this one with 218 yards rushing, Green Blevins.
Well, DeMarco Murray coming into the game knew that he had to have a big game, wanted to kick off the season in the right way, and came in healthy, and he did have just that. And he had several big plays, but I thought the bigger plays were down the stretch when he converted on some short yardage plays. There's a big, long touchdown, but late in the game, I thought these were really big plays.
Yes, they handed the football to DeMarco Murray, and it was all number 7 to ice this one. Very much needed at that point. Don't forget about the 4th down play where he was able to reach the football right to where he needed to, and that was just prior to that 63-yard touchdown run. Check out those final stats. What sticks out to you, dude?
The final score. Now Oklahoma shut her down in terms of penalties at halftime and still couldn't really take advantage, but I think the fact that the passing yardage for Utah State was 341 is unbelievable, and total yardage was the same as well, but 341 yards is leaves a lot to be desired.
Sooners did come up with 3 interceptions on defense, but this was pretty much the DeMarco Murray show, and Alyssa caught up with DeMarco afterwards.
Alongside DeMarco Murray, and certainly terrific execution tonight. I think all of Las Vegas, Nevada is excited for you and your performance.
Definitely, I love Las Vegas. I know a lot of my friends and family back there watching, so definitely got to represent for Bishop Gorman, my high school, and all those guys out there working hard, playing hard, so I definitely got to represent where I'm from.
Your coach, Cale Gundy, had told me that you worked very diligently in the offseason to get a little bit more healthy. You've lost 10 pounds. How much has that helped you with your confidence, DeMarco?
Definitely, I've done a lot of different things, just to try to stay healthy, with yoga, doing some boxing and things like that, just to, when I come back here, I don't want to be tired out or burned out from football things all day. So, I did some different kind of workouts, back at home, and, I'm feeling great. I did lose a couple pounds, and, I worked hard, as hard as I can, without, overdoing it like I've been doing the past couple years, but, my body's feeling good.
Good luck against Florida State.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Alyssa. And DeMarco Murray with 218 yards rushing on 35 carries. They said he was going to be the featured back, and I'll say he's the featured back.
Well, they had Finch was not able to play tonight, the rookie, but they did use DeMarco, and they needed every bit of what he had, and they also needed every bit of what Broyles was able to bring, because he had the 2 big touchdown receptions and some 150 yards in receiving.
And now Florida State and sort of a murderer's row of opponents come up the next month.
I tell you what, nothing against Bobby Bowden. We know how great he was, but Jimbo Fisher had that club ready to go today, and we know they have supreme athletes, Ponder being one of them, and his run-pass capabilities and then the overall athletic ability of that ball club. They were outstanding today, even though they didn't play a good ball club.
You go back through the years of 800 Oklahoma victories, and there have been very close season-opening victories that turned out to be exceptional seasons for the Sooners. Maybe this one will turn out that way for this Oklahoma team. Dean, it's been a pleasure working with you once again this week.
Lots of fun. Good to see you, William, and I will look forward to seeing you next time.
And for everyone who's been a part of this one, I am Bill Jones. We appreciate you joining us for Oklahoma football. 31-24, win number 800 is in the books.